welcome back to WRPL, the podcast where we talk about all the things we are watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
How you doing, Steve?
Doing good, Ben. Just got back from Chicago, had a little mini-moon with my wife, did some fun adventure stuff. It was a good time.
Yeah, it's been a while since we recorded. We weren't able to do it last week because someone has to go have fun with their significant other. And it's very inconsiderate.
I know. I apologize.
But it was good?
Yeah, I only had the big reason I wanted to go to Chicago. Well, we wanted to go to Chicago, but the main reason I wanted to go was because I always wanted to see Second City. Famous comedy area. Chicago and Second City is like where Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert and other famous Stevens probably have come out of. Sam Richardson and Tim Robbins all came from Second City and doing improv groups and stuff. So we saw an improv group, and it was a fun show. Did some pretty clever bits. Some stuff didn't land. Some stuff landed really well. So, some of the political humor, I think, was mixed received. Like, I think Chicago is obviously a very liberal city. So, like, there were people there who, like, when they said something, they were like, oh, yeah. But then there was, like, a lot of old people in the crowd, too, who I think were, like, tourists coming in from other places. And they, like, didn't care for those kind of bits.
This is why we don't come to the big city.
Yeah.
Could you tell who was, like, the weak link of the improv group?
It wasn't that any of them were particularly weak. It was just two were particularly strong.
Okay.
Yeah, one girl was very... It's funny because, like, I think a lot of them kind of fit groups. Like, the one girl who was great, she was kind of like a Sarah Silverman, like, Jewish girl kind of vibe.
What's your comedy stylings? Jew girl.
Jew girl, yeah. And there was one guy who, like, he did, like, a lot of the play, like, the angry character, and he played it so well. Like, he was really, really good. And he kept reminding me of, like, other comedians I've seen, and I couldn't figure out who the fuck this guy reminded me of. But he was really great.
Did they have a stupid name?
They had a name, I don't remember. It wasn't, like... I don't think it was, like, a pun or anything.
Dr. Peterson's Fun Time Brigade or anything?
It was something like that. I don't remember the name of the group, and like they didn't promote like their Instagrams or anything. They were just like, oh, my name's Darren or whatever. Like they just said their first names, and like I don't think it said anywhere like who these people are or where you can find them.
This is real comedy. We're not here to promote something else.
Yeah.
We're here to make you laugh here in the now.
Like they had quick like 10 to 30 second sketches that they came up with, which I like those the most. And all their improv stuff was really funny. But when they had long form sketches where it was just like it'd be like two of the guys were playing like cops and it was just like them kind of like riffing on stuff, and it just went on like some of them went on just like a little too long, and some of the jokes in it were just like not that solid. But it was just cool to be in that environment and just a lot of fun. And I would highly recommend if you're ever in Chicago, go to Second City. They do shows every night. I think one night a week is like the student showcase, which you know is going to be terrible. So luckily we didn't go to that one.
Aw, shucks.
Yeah. Also, this particular show was called like The Best of Chicago. So there was like a lot of Chicago-based jokes, which like I was able to... Like it was basically just like, hey, this landmark over here.
Yeah. I know that place.
Okay, I know what that is, but like
I don't necessarily know the joke, but I get what you're doing. What's the big tower? The real tall? Is it? It's not the Sears Tower, is it?
I think there is a. Well, it was Sears Tower. I think it's called something
else now.
Yeah,
Yeah, because last time I went to Chicago, we went up there, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be so cool. It was cloudy as fuck. Couldn't see shit.
Well, yeah, that was when we came in, we hopped on their like they have a great public transportation system, but we got on their train that cuts through the city, and it was a cloudy day, and we pull out, and the first thing you see of Chicago is just like this building with like clouds covering the very top of like this one building. I was like when the city is like in the sunshine, it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful city, but on a cloudy day or like I imagine in the wintertime, it looks so dystopian at times. Like, it's really weird. But yeah, Chicago, great city, had a great time. Only was threatened one time. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Were you really?
Not threatened like give me your money or anything like that, but me and my wife were waiting for a train. This dude came up to us and just kind of stood near us for a second. I looked over.
Oh God, here we go.
And then he was just like, I see you fucking around, son. And I was like, huh? He's just like, yes. Well, basically, he just accused me and my wife of, like, having sex in, like, public. And he's like, I got it on my phone. You want to see it? And I'm like, what? Get the hell out of here. And it's like, as he's talking to us, and, like, he's just being, like, really weird and rude and everything. Like, our train pulls up, and we're just like, all right, man. Good luck. And we just get on, and he, like, doesn't follow us in. I was just like, oh my God. But, like, he walks up to us and just starts, like, accusing us of stuff. And I was just like, oh God, I'm gonna have to fight this, like, crazy homeless guy or whatever he is. I don't want to do this right now. But luckily, yeah, I think he was just wanted to bother some tourists or something. I don't know, but it was weird.
Now, last Chicago question: did you have any deep dish pizza while you're there?
We did. So when we landed, it was already like 4 or 5 o'clock or something. So we had nothing really planned for the day. So I was like, all right, we'll get deep dish pizza. That'll be our big event of the day. Yeah, deep dish, overrated.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like, we went to this place that was known. I won't say its name, but it was a very popular place for deep dish, and the line for a table was like an hour and a half.
Damn.
Like, it was popping, and there was like tons of people outside, but you could get carry out, and they were like, it'll be like 30 minutes. And I was like, all right, well, let's just do that. We'll go back to the hotel. So we got it, and I'm sure there's Chicagoans or deep dish lovers who'd be like, nah, man, you gotta get it fresh and got it delivered to the table and whatever this accent is.
You gotta go to Papa Gino's.
Yeah. You went to the wrong place, man. Or whatever. Like, the flavor of deep dish is fine, but it's just not the ideal way to eat food. It's really messy. You can't get that nice New York pizza fold. So, like, as I'm eating it, it's just like slopping out. And, like, I like a nice big crust that's soft. This is, like, really thin. It's basically just like a thin dish to just hold all the soup in. It's like a
pie crust almost.
And it's just, like, crunchy, which is fine. But it's like, but, like, if you do New York style, you get, like, cheese in there or some other type of, or you stuff it with I don't even know. But it just is like, oh, here's pizza, but it's harder to eat.
Yeah.
So, not for me.
Yeah, when I went... We got in a cab and we're like, hey, look, we're tourists. We just want to go to a really good deep dish pizza place. And like, oh, I know the place. And I have seen it on, like, Food Network shows. And, like, this is the place. When you're in Chicago, you go here. Don't remember what it was. But it was just the three of us. And we've killed multiple pizzas in our lives. And we're like, we're pretty hungry. Let's get 2 just in case. I think we each ate a slice of one pizza and was like, Jesus, I'm so full. This is too much at one time. And so I gave the other pizza to a sleeping homeless person.
Yeah, I mean, we did get like a personal size kind of pizza. So I don't want to degrade all deep dish pizza just because I had one experience with it.
Okay.
It just
you can.
I don't want to assume that this is how it always is, but yeah, I don't see the appeal.
It's not pizza.
It's I don't know what it is. It's pizza flavored something, I guess.
Yeah.
But New York style is the supreme ideal pizza choice. Yeah. There's a reason, like, that's the icon and not deep dish pizzas, like the icon on emojis. Not that that's, the
no, but if you said draw a pizza, it would be a thin triangle, not a big wedge of cake, A
pizza cake, yeah. But we did have Chicago style hot dogs, which were slam. I don't think I can ever have a hot dog other than this.
Was it on the street hot dog vendor?
No. So there's a place.
That's not the real Chicago dog. Yeah. No, I don't know.
We went to another place that was, like, famous for these hot dogs, and it's just like, here's a hot dog, and we're just gonna throw a bunch of shit on top.
Okay.
But it was all delicious, and apparently, if you ask for a hot dog with ketchup, they'll punch you in the eye or something. It's
fucking assholes.
It's so snobbery, but.
It's the same like in Philly. There's you can't have Swiss cheese on your cheesesteak. It's got to be American, Cheese Whiz, or provolone. You can't have anything else. Like, fuck you, man. Who gives a shit? Or like hidden menus with In-N-Out. Oh, it's such a secret hidden thing, but everybody already knows it. Is the arrogance that these places have. It drives me nuts. And, like, if I want ketchup on my hot dog, I should be able to have it. Say, people like A1 on their steak, and people would say that's sacrilegious. Like, shut up, let me eat how I want to eat. I'm not, like, dipping my hot dogs in milk and then rolling it in, like, mac and cheese powder. Okay, you can shame me for that. That's weird. That's not common. But, like, ketchup and mustard, ketchup, mustard, relish are like the standard hot dog toppings.
I mean, in your defense, that is a really tasty treat you had there.
Yeah, hot dog, milk cheese. Yeah.
Hot dog, milk cheese. Yeah, but yeah, Chicago style hot dogs are delicious. I will give them an A+ rating on that because I could have eaten a bunch of those. Deep dish, C-, didn't care for it.
Yeah, I would never like cause a fight if they're like, oh, we're going to this pizza place. They're known for their deep dish and that's their thing. I'd be like, okay, fine. I'll be eating a pizza-esque thing. Yeah. I can deal with it. But if you're asking for me, no, we're not going there. Mm-hmm. I'm a thin crust man.
The last thing I'll say is we went to this event called Color Factory, which was awesome. We weren't even sure if we were going to do it because we went to a similar thing. It was like Candyland or whatever the fuck it was called in Philly, and that was kind of underwhelming. But this is just like, it's an art installation where you interact in different rooms, do different things, and you kind of interact with color and how color affects how you taste and how you see things and all that stuff. And they had like a giant ball pit you could get into, which was like fun because I haven't been in ball pits since I was like 5 years old. And then they gave us melon ice cream, which was delicious.
Melon?
Yeah.
What kind of melon?
Melon. Don't worry about it.
But there's no such thing as a melon.
It was green. Cantaloupe.
Okay.
But it wasn't I don't know. It was melon flavored.
Melon flavored. Yeah. No, but I get it. Like Mountain Dew has a thing that of like, oh, those taste like melon. I don't know what kind of melon, but it's a melon.
Whatever that is.
I can tell there's a rind here somewhere.
It was green. It was melon, which was delicious. But there was a room called like Night Forest or the Silk Forest, whatever it was called. And basically it's like this dark room with like one light and a bunch of like thousands of like silk ribbons dangling from the ceiling. And it was like from purple to black to green. And so like depending on how you looked at it, you see the color. But basically it's just a pretty dark room. But you walk through these silk ribbons and they just kind of like come over your face and your arms and stuff. And it just felt so good. And I was like, man, if I was on ecstasy or something, this would be the best thing ever. Like me and my wife were just like, man, we could be in here for like an hour and a half. And it was just like no one else really came in this room the entire time we were in there. So we were in there for like 20 minutes just like walking through the forest, like having these like weird ribbons touch our bodies. It was weird, but it's awesome.
That sounds good. But I think like in this day and age of COVID and has made me like don't touch anything.
Yeah.
Oh, let's have all these strings that touch a bunch of other people's faces touch your face as well.
No, I will say that, in the times of COVID, this would be a COVID nightmare, especially like the ball pit that children were getting into. And the only reason I felt like okay getting the ball pit, and once again, this is just a sign. It was just like, the balls are cleaned daily with our patented ball cleaning machine or whatever the hell it was. And I was like, okay. And that could have been a total lie. I just wanted to get in a ball pit, and there were slides. I don't know. It was a lot of fun. But really, really cool. Chicago, check it out.
Awesome. Well, was it worth making all of our non-fans suffer a week without anything? I didn't even put up like an extra This Meets That episode or anything.
It was worth it for me.
Well, awesome. We have, because it's been 2 weeks since we've done this, we have a lot to talk about. So we're going to try to get through a lot of it quickly. And as always, spoilers for everything. Our main topic of the night is Prey, the new Predator movie on Hulu. But we'll talk some other movies and video games and TV shows as well. I don't know. Do you got any books?
I do have some comic books.
Okay, cool.
Do you just want to go down your list first, and we'll just do all of them, or do you want to go back and forth?
We'll go back and forth, but I want to bring up, and I know this is third episode in a row, but we got to talk about some cream soda.
Okay.
So,
I love me some creams.
As a big fast food eater, I deal with the Coke Freestyle machines. And for those who may not know, I don't know why, I think they're pretty much nationwide, but the Coke machines where you can add vanilla to Sprite or grape to Coke Zero,
Essentially has like 100 flavors in one machine.
Oh yeah, more than that. I may cut this, but it's weird. My main thing, Diet Dr. Pepper, I'll get it, and when it runs out, it will take away Diet Dr. Pepper and Dr. Pepper, even though I'm not getting it. And so I was talking to one of the guys, and apparently all of it is, it's like, oh, here is Dr. Pepper flavoring, and we'll either mix it with sugar water or non-sugar water, and that's your Coke and your regular. So when you run out of Coke, you run out of Coke Zero and Diet Coke at the same time because it all comes from the same thing. It's just a different mix of sugar or non-sugar water. Isn't that weird?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's more efficient.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah.
If you could have this flavor and it's like, well, it tastes exactly like both these things. You just got to add a different ingredient. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So there is cream soda on a lot of these Coke Freestyles. Mm-hmm. It is Barks.
Uh-huh. I've had this recently from the Freestyle
machine.
And I don't want to say, because I don't believe that's like the purest version of it.
It's garbage.
Yeah, and I didn't care for it.
It's really bad.
And I'd like to try a Barks cream soda from a can, or at least from a bottle or something. But yeah, from the fountain machine, didn't care for it.
And I want to say, from root beer drinkers, that Barks is the bad root beer. If you want the A&W or the mug. And I mean, I don't know. I don't like root beer. But their cream soda from the Coke Freestyle is disgusting. So don't even bother. It tastes like a vanilla Sprite, not a actual cream soda. But they had a Fanta mystery flavor up for a while. And it's like, come back at the end of July and we'll reveal it. And normally I'm gung-ho for all these sorts of things. Like, I love getting mystery flavor Oreos and trying to figure it out. But for some reason, didn't trust it. So I just didn't get it. And I said, fuck it, I'll come back when they reveal the flavor. So they revealed it, and it was peach cobbler. I'm like, oh, okay.
See, I only wish you tried it so you'd be like, oh, I think this is blueberry. And it's like, peach cobbler? I didn't get that at all.
No, I think I may not have gotten the words cobbler, but I definitely could have identified it because I tried it, and it was disgusting. It was peach root beer. That's what they justify as peach cobbler. Because, root beer's got that spicy flavor that could maybe be a baked-in spice of a pie. I get what they're going for, but a peach root beer is not peach cobbler. And, I almost did one of those, I spit it back onto the screen. I had to stop myself because I was not expecting peach root beer. And, you may like your grape Sprites and all these weird combinations. There's strawberry Dr. Pepper, which is disgusting. Whatever floats your boat. But peach and root beer, that just seems like an awful combination. And I highly don't recommend it.
I can't remember if I asked you if we talked about the podcast, but have you tried the spicy Mountain Dew?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
I don't want to spend money on something that I'm going to drink, go, okay, I get it, it's gross, and not want to finish it.
Yeah.
We'll have to go 50-50 on it. We should have done that today.
Yeah, we should have. Because, I'm curious to try it, but at the same time, I feel like there's a 95% chance I won't like it.
Yeah.
So it's like, why do I want to spend money at all?
Yeah.
But my curious, dumb brain is like, but you want to try it, though.
Yeah. I had some Mexican food. Okay, so I have a lot of temps, and a lot of them are Mexican. So I ask whenever I get a new Mexican temp, what's the good local Mexican food? Because being from Southern California, I know what good Mexican food tastes like, or at least I think I do. And then we moved to Nebraska, and we asked them, where's the good Mexican places? And people would legitimately say, I don't know, Taco Bell. And since I have moved here, I found some okay places, but I wanted where do Mexicans go to get their Mexican food? If they're not making it, what restaurant do they go to? So I asked one of my coworkers, and she said, here's a place, sent me the address. And it's like, oh, okay, I seen it. It's a bright orange building. And I was like, oh, it's this little hole in the wall place? Cool, let's do it. And I always get enchiladas at any new Mexican place, because how do you fuck that up?
I always get the enchilada supremes.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the enchiladas where it's the four. You get the bean, the cheese, the beef, and the.
Or a lot of them it's ground beef, shredded beef, chicken, and cheese.
Yeah.
It was just chicken enchiladas. So chicken, absolutely flavorless. It's like they saw white people and went, oh no, they're gonna think this is too spicy. Let's not flavor this chicken. No flavor. The corn tortilla was just meh. The sauce. You know what red enchilada sauce tastes like? This was marinara and salsa. That's the best way to describe it. It was watery. It had the consistency of a watery marinara, but you could still taste a little bit of spice. It was disgusting. I can't believe that a real Mexican recommended this quote unquote real Mexican food. Or maybe they're just punking me, and they're stay out of our fucking places. But there was a lot of people there, eating it. It was nasty.
Was it, cheap, or was it?
No, it was $16 for 4 enchiladas. Yeah, gross.
Well, I mean, it sounds like they punked you, but if you said there's a bunch of people there, maybe not.
So I do have a few things I want to talk about real quick. They've already been mentioned on the show by you, and I just want to let you know my thoughts on them. First off, Ozark, season 4.
Yep.
Figured, why the hell not? I blew through them relatively quick because I thought it was a really good season. It's like every other season where they're in the most impossible situation ever, but then they get out of it and everything's A-okay and hunky-dory and within a few minutes. I like pretty much everything that was going on, and it really felt like it was building to a new season. And then they do one of the most annoying cliche things that hasn't been done since like the 90s, where you cut to black and then hear a gunshot and then roll credits. I fucking hate that. It is so lame. Oh, did he shoot him? Did maybe he shoot the jar so all the evidence would go away? Did he just shoot in the air and scare him off? Nope. Let's leave it nice and ambiguous. And if they were coming back for another season, I would have been okay with that. But to end the show, that was lame. Mm-hmm. Pretty sad about Ruth. She finally gets it all, and of course I should have seen it coming. She's finally going to be happy, and then that annoying drug lady just gave her up like that. I was, and people always get out of crazy situations, so I was just waiting, like, who's going to show up? Are they going to do some crazy weird MacGuffin thing, like Wyatt is back from the dead, or his ghost shoots her, or something, something crazy. But it was really sad, because she really is the best character in that show, and she deserved so much better. So, all in all, one of my favorite seasons, I'd say. I'd say better than 2.
How'd you feel about the whole van flip
What the fuck was that?
Yeah,
let's start the season with this crazy car crash. Were they about to get away and this was a hit?
Did they die? What's the whole thing about this? And then you get to it, it's like,
we're fine.
Just an accident, and they're all fine.
Yeah, they just take a cab home, and then here's another big situation, and they're just like brushing it off, like, oh, whatever, it was just a car accident.
Yeah, none of them got like whiplash or anything.
And I was like, oh, this is how they're going to get Wendy. Maybe the kids will survive, maybe Marty survives, but Wendy's going to be the one that goes, because, man, she is awful in the show. The things she does are so infuriating, but she's so good at like being this evil human being.
Yeah, like I try to be careful when complaining about female characters in shows, because I feel like
that Skylar White thing.
Yeah, it often comes to just like, well, you just don't like women, or like because of whatever. But like, no, Wendy is awful on the show. Like Laura Linney, fantastic actor.
Amazing.
She's so good on the show. But God, Wendy's so frustrating and such a lunatic, and just like Walter White lying to his like wife and kids, kind of just like, oh, you scumbag. But her like delusional self, just like of ego and just everything was just, it was so hard to watch at times. And I was just like, I hate, and it's like my biggest problem with the show is just like, why couldn't if Wendy and Marty just worked together, they'd be unstoppable. They could accomplish anything in 5 fucking minutes. But now it's gonna take days or whatever, because they're just both like undermining each other at every turn, and it's just, it gets to a certain point where it's like I'm having like I feel like the show is like the perfect amount of time, because like when it gets to the end of a season, I'm just like, God, I can't wait to not hear these people talk to each other anymore. And then it ends. I'm like, all right, I'll watch another season. But yeah, I mean, as great as Laura Linney is, I hated Wendy, and I was like, I just wanted her to like die or get written off or something, just because like I just wanted them to like focus on doing like anything positive. And it was just such a hard watch at times.
They were building her up as such a villain with everyone. I thought there was going to become a point where Marty would have to choose like save your kids or save your wife, and then he would do the obvious thing, save his kids, and that's how we were going to get rid of Wendy Bird. But no, they all survive and get a happy ending. They're going to be like, what they call them, like the JFKs of the Midwest. They're going to be rigging elections and running huge foundations and continue to launder money, and they'll be completely safe from prosecution in certain aspects. Like, they really did come out on top of everything. Yes, she may have had to sacrifice her own brother and, allow Ruth to get killed to save themselves. But yeah, they really did win.
Yeah, I enjoyed the show. I'm glad I watched it. If it was a show that got canceled after season 2, I don't think I would have been upset by any means. It's not my favorite show, and it's like people have asked me, like, oh, would you recommend Ozark? I'm like, not really.
And
like,
not because
if you
it's
have nothing
bad.
else to watch it. Because I don't think it's a bad show by any means. But it's also just not the most fun show to watch.
Yeah.
And it's also the fact that it's like color graded light blue or like dark blue the entire time.
Yeah, it's washed out in the daylight.
But I'm glad you liked it. You liked it more than I did.
Yeah, I'm glad it's done. It's nice to just wrap it up.
Yeah.
So moving on, next thing, The Quarry. I beat it.
Mm-hmm.
I did pretty good.
That's good.
Of all the main cast, the main kids, the dude who likes Ariel Winter, who he's the first one to get attacked in turn, he died. I don't remember him dying because the game didn't do a great job of when a werewolf is on screen, you know which werewolf it is.
Yeah.
So when one dies, I was just like, okay, and I had to wait until the very end, and it said, oh, this person died when he was a werewolf. I'm like, oh, okay, what part? I don't quite remember. And then my only other person who died was Brenda Song.
Oh, man. She's my favorite character.
She was good. Did she die in yours?
She died.
Was it the refrigerator?
No.
Oh, okay. Because there's a part where I'm hiding from a werewolf in a kitchen, and there's a big open freezer, and it's like run in and hide or use a decoy. And I was like, well, if I use a decoy, it's going to fuck up and he's going to kill me. So I ran and hid, and I got locked in the freezer, and I froze to death. Nobody came and checked on me in the morning. So I guess the decoy was the way I was supposed to go, because I would assume I push the werewolf in and lock them in, and maybe if that was that's someone else you can save, because then she would come back and save them.
All right.
The mom died, got her head blown off. The older of the supporting cast, what's her name? From The Conjuring and all that. She died. Lance Hendrickson, that's his name, right? He died.
Ethan Suplee.
No, he survived. Main cop from Scream and.
Oh, David Arquette.
David Arquette. He died.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But everybody else. I thought the eye patch girl. I thought I killed her, but it was like she gets shot and she heals because she got bit. So I was pissed. I was like, fuck, I got one of my people killed. And like, oh no, did that happen to you? Like, she gets shot and survives?
She did die in my game. I can't remember what happens to her. I think she either gets shot or stabbed, or it's like something happens where she dies permanently. Like,
all right.
Even though like she was turned at the time, for whatever reason, I don't think she healed. Because I definitely did bad in my game, and it frustrates me. But I will replay that game in the near future. It's definitely, more than the other ones, I think the most replayable.
For sure. And especially having that movie mode. Did you look at it at all?
No.
Okay, because there's 3 modes. It's everybody lives, everybody dies, or choose the characteristics of each character. And you like, oh, they are aggressive in these situations, they're passive in these. It's a sliding scale of like 3 or 4 choices for each sort of situation. And then you just do that with all the characters and then kind of let it roll. I would love to play it with put everybody as aggressive as possible and negative and mean, and then go through it again and make it everybody super nice, because just because you're mean doesn't mean you're going to die. Just because you're nice doesn't mean you're going to live. And I'd like to see how that plays out. The only problem is there's no fast forward. You have to watch everything. So when you're doing that intro with the first 2, it doesn't matter what your choices are there. It ends up being the same. So getting through that, because I wanted to do movie mode, and for some reason I just started up like a regular game, not thinking, oh crap, I had to go the wrong thing. So I watched that whole intro again and I was like, oh, it was pretty much the same. Wait, fuck, am I in the wrong thing? And then I realized, oh crap.
Gotcha.
And so I'm like, do I really want to go through it again?
Yeah.
And I started it, and I went like took a shower and came back, and it was still going. I was like, okay, never mind.
Because movie mode would be like, what, 10 hours?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, really?
Especially if they take out all the little pauses and all the walking around stuff. I think they may still, because you could do it like they are highly investigative or more passive. So I think a lot of that stuff would get cut. But I thought it would only be like maybe 6 at the max. But I don't know.
Oh, all right.
Anyhow, but yeah, Corey liked it. Probably one of my favorite out of all of them. Yep. Of course, I haven't played through a lot of them, but man, those facial animations. Ariel Winter's jaw looked like it was dislocated the whole time. Why was it so crooked? And like Brenda Song looked great. She looked perfect. Everybody else has like all this extra space inside their mouth. So they just talk like they have this huge cavity, and it's so distracting. It looks so ugly.
I mean, I noticed that on 2 characters in particular, but I think I said in our previous podcast when I talked about it, this was the first game where I felt like the face stuff didn't really bother me that much. I thought it was like the best they've done so far.
Better eyes than all the last ones, but worse mouths.
Better. Okay, I'll agree with that. Yeah, because I didn't have any problem with any of the eye stuff.
Yeah, no, the eye stuff was great. So that's the Quarry, and that's Ozark. What do you got, Steve?
Okay.
And just keep it in mind, I know we've both been rambling. We did talk about Chicago for like 20 minutes. We're at 31 minutes already.
Fair enough. Well, I'll keep it nice and tight. So I talked about Batman teaming up with the Ninja Turtles. I read the second one.
Okay.
And in this one, Bane comes through the portal machine that they built, and he kind of like overtakes the Turtles' New York City. And the whole big crux of it was like Donatello was in a fight and nearly got killed, and he always feels like the weak one. He's not the best fighter, and so he's like, I'm gonna open a portal, go to Batman, and like have him help me figure out how to be strong, like my brothers, kind of thing. But when he does it, Bane comes through, and he becomes the new leader of the Foot Clan and overthrows Shredder.
Really? Okay.
And like Bane juices up all the Foot Ninjas and Bebop and Rocksteady, and basically just has like all of the city like under his control. He's like the king of New York City. And
it's kind of a nice inverse. Like the first one was, let's take the ooze and put it on Batman's villains. Well, let's take Batman's villain and gas up the Turtles' villains. Right. That's cool.
And so of course Bane is just like this huge monster that he can't really defeat. Now he's got this army of people who are like way, way tougher. And Donatello's like, well, I refuse to be weak ever again. So he takes Bane's venom. And so now Donatello's like this hulking thing, and they're like trying to bring him back because it's like, this is going to turn you insane and make you this violent monster who you are not. So anyway, Donnie learns his lesson. They all become, a family again. And it's like Donnie's strength. It's like, you don't have to be the best fighter. Like, your weapon, your technology, and your brain are like your strength. Like, that's what we need on the team and that kind of stuff. And they ultimately defeat Bane, and the day is saved. And
did you say at the beginning, are we in Batman's world or Turtles' world?
I mean, you do go, like, Donnie goes to Batman's world, and so it's up to Splinter and Raphael and Michelangelo. Like, they're dealing with the Bane stuff, but I mean, they're not separated for very long because they're like, we need to get back to. In this one, Damian comes over. And so, like, Damien and Raph are, like, going at it because, they're both, like, don't take shit from each other. And they're, like, having a fight, like, in the sewer, like, trying to prove who's the better fighter and that kind of stuff. But, yeah, so Batman and Robin come over and help them and defeat Bane and bring him back and all that kind of stuff. So it was a fun read. I might have actually liked it more than the first one.
Okay.
Yep. And there is a third one, which I haven't read yet, but I'm hoping to in the near future. I read another comic book called Skyward. I think this one you'd really dig. It's very, I think, filmable, or maybe not filmable, just because of the concept would be kind of hard to do all the time, but it is a cool concept. So imagine the fight scene in Inception with the swirling hallway or whatever, but constantly because in this one there's a thing called G-Day, and on G-Day gravity switched, so now everyone can like fly around and everything. Like suddenly everything just started floating upwards. So like if you're in the middle of the street, you're just going going up.
Oh my god. So but it's coming, right? It's not like G-Day's random.
Nope, it just happened all of a sudden.
But does it happen once a year, or is it happened and now it's permanent?
It happened and now it's permanent.
Oh, shit!
Yeah, so...
When you said G-Day, it almost sounded like it was a holiday or something. Like, everybody get ready, here comes the gravity!
Sorry. So, yeah, the opening of the comic book is, like, this guy and his wife and his newborn baby, and they're at the house, and they put the newborn down to bed, and the wife goes outside. She's like, I'm going to go for a jog. I'll be back in a little bit. And then, like, the gravity shifts, and so he's, like, hearing his wife screaming outside, and he like is trying to save her, but then he hears his baby crying, so it's like, do I go after my wife or do I save my newborn baby? But like the newborn baby wasn't going anywhere. It's like it's still like a baby floating around.
You don't know
what's
going on.
Situation. So he goes, saves the baby, wife disappears, dead.
God, that's such a fear of mine.
Tons of people died that day, obviously, because they just kept going and they just
Now, like, did all the cars lift up too?
anything that wasn't bolted down,
Damn.
everything going up.
Jesus.
Plants, animals.
That's so scary.
Yeah. So just tons of people go up and die. And so now, cut to 20 years later, society has survived, and like now, our main character is the baby from the beginning. She's like a kind of like a message deliverer, like delivering packages. A bike messenger, essentially. But she's just like, she knows how to navigate this gravity scenario. And so, like, if you're poor, you kind of live above. And if you're rich, you have like, you can afford like $10,000 gravity boots that keep you strapped to the ground. So like the rich are like live on the bottom now, which is a fun little concept. Yeah. And it's just a really cool like adventure of just like, her dad was a scientist, and it's like he may or may not have the answer to like why this happened or can we reverse it. And they do some really fun stuff with like what would happen if gravity did switch. Like there's like, a storm is coming, and so it's just like, instead of raindrops, it's just like this big amorphous like wave essentially that just floats through the sky. And so like if you get caught in it, you have nothing to grab onto. So like when a storm comes, you have to like get inside, because if you get caught in the middle of this floating ball of water, you're gonna drown because you can't get out. So that's really scary.
Now, could you, if you had like 1,000 pounds of like barbells or dumbbells and stuff, could you tie yourself to it and throw it and keep yourself weighted, or would even those lift? Because if cars are not bolted down, your 100-pound exercise machine, that if it's outside, it would also float up, right?
I mean, I think it just depends on like the strength of the gravity. I said the cars go up. Maybe cars did.
Okay.
But they never did a thing where just like grab on some weight and you just see them slowly like fall. It's just like basically like you can like push yourself downwards or whatever.
But if you don't have anything, you just
anything, you just
and it's not like you're sucked out like being sucked out of an airplane.
You're not going 30 miles an hour up. So like, if you like launch yourself really fast, you will go really fast up.
So you could take the risk of like, I'm going to hold on to this street post and I'm going to leap to the next one. But if I miss, bye me.
Yeah. No, okay. I mean, luckily that's the main people who survived are people who lived in the city, because they would have stuff to grab onto and push themselves off of.
Imagine just being like stuck in a farm and just being like, crap, what do I got?
If you were out in the field, you're
done.
But it went in a direction I didn't expect it to go in, because like halfway through, they're like, okay, we need to go out of the city to do this thing. And apparently, I don't know how scientifically accurate this is, but I guess the main thing that keeps bugs small is gravity. So now that it's been 20 years or whatever it is, and gravity has inverted, and it's now like bugs have grown ginormous. Like people are riding like butterflies and shit.
Ooh.
So like these people who grew up in the city, they're just like, they heard rumors of this, but they just thought it was all like make believe to keep people scared to like not go out. But no, there's just giant bugs that are trying to kill you at all times. Like if you go to like the forest and stuff. But then you meet this group who like flies on certain bugs, and it becomes like this war arc thing. I don't know. It's super fun and cool. It's a really easy read. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun.
Is it just like one volume and it's done?
Yeah, it's one self-contained story, and it's all done. Cool. I don't know if I haven't done research. I don't know if there is sequels. It ends in a way that just kind of feels like we've told the story we needed to tell. Some minor twists and turns, but just really cool concept, and really, really enjoyed it.
Awesome. I love it because I hate it. That sounds very scary.
It's not a horrifying comic by any means. It's just, I didn't expect giant bugs to be a thing. And like I said, I don't know if it's true, but if the only thing keeping bugs small is gravity, thank God we have gravity.
Yeah, for real.
Because bugs would destroy the earth in no time.
And you have a third comic book?
Yeah. So the third comic book I read it was a popular webcomic, but now they've released volumes of it because I guess it was so popular online. It's called Lore Olympus. I don't know if you've seen this. So the reason if you pitch this to me, it may not be, like, I'm clearly not the target audience because it is kind of a romance story. But the reason I decided to read it was because, like, the artwork is gorgeous. I love it. But it's about Hades and Persephone's love story. but it's like modern day take. And so like she's this 19-year-old going to college, and she runs into Hades at like a nightclub, and Hades is Hades. He's been around for thousands of years, but like they're all wearing like suits and stuff, and like have cell phones, and it's basically these two characters and how they interact with other gods. And Zeus and Poseidon, his brothers, are like rich douchebags who are like cheating on their wives and everything. And Hades is like this dark, brooding, like sensitive guy who's just like, oh, I like to read books, and he has a bunch of dogs, and of course like Cerberus is like his main dog and everything. And it's just like, it's essentially 50 Shades of Grey meets Hercules. Okay. Disney's Hercules. Okay. It's not overtly like sexual, but it is for adults in terms of like there is themes of like sex and sexual assault and like gossip and everything, but like it's so well drawn, and it's like such an easy read because it's not like dialogue heavy. And if you're a big mythology fan, it's a lot of fun because like you're bringing in these characters and you're making references to other stuff in mythology and everything, and it's really, really cool. And I think she's on like 200 issues of like this webcomic, and the first two books that I read only go up to 50, I think. It's just if you're a fan of like romance, it's a really fun take on modern day gods and how you interpret that story. And yeah, just I don't know, a lot of fun. And
just a one shot story as well.
No, it's still ongoing. I think by the end there'll probably be like 10 books, and only the third one is, I think, just released or just about to release.
Oh, okay, relatively new.
But like the webcomic is far in the I think it's heading towards the end. It's just right now in physical form. And you can read it all for free, so I'm probably gonna like go online and read the rest. So if you're a dude, this might not be for you, but if you're a fan of just like really beautifully drawn stuff and just a new take on relationships between gods, it's pretty cool.
Okay, so I want to talk about a real messed up movie. Have you heard of the movie called Eden Lake?
I have not.
Well, Eden Lake came out in 2008. It has Michael Fassbender and Kelly Riley. They are a couple. He's planning to propose on this vacation. It's like an old quarry that is now a reservoir, and he grew up in this area, and it's going to be great. So they go. She's a kindergarten teacher, and it's just like real nice. And he's kind of a pushover. He's a little bit of a pussy, but not 100%. So they're hanging out on the beach, and there's these ragamuffin hooligan kids. There's like 6 of them, 5 guys and a girl. They're townies, and it's like the leader is this real huge piece of shit, the white trash kid of the neighborhood that everybody would say don't hang out because he's corrupting all the kids. All these kids would probably be nice little boys, but because they know this lead, they've turned into little monsters. And so they're blasting music, and they got this Rottweiler that's kind of threatening and being loud. And so Michael Fassbender is just like, come on guys, we're on vacation, let's be cool. And they're all like, fuck you, eat my cunt, and yeah. They're like really vulgar and disgusting, especially the woman. She's awful. And so he walks away with his like tail between his legs, and then they go back to their car, and they've punctured their tire, and so they're pissed and trying to go into town and talking to one of the locals, like, there's a bunch of fucking kids. And they're like, they're just a bunch of crazy kids. And like, they like popped our tire, and like, not my fucking kid. Oh, you better watch what you're saying. Like, okay, never mind. So they go back to the beach, and the kids are gone. And then when they are going to go into town again, the car is missing. So they're walking through the woods. They're miles away from anything. They finally find the kids around the bonfire, and it's like, look, assholes, just give us our keys. We just want to leave, yada, yada, yada. And of course he's like, well, I don't have your stuff. And just, being a little shit. And someone pulls a knife, and they're just like kind of wrestling with it, and the dog gets loose, and Michael Fassbender accidentally kills the dog. So of course the kid is like, I'm gonna murder you. So they get in the car, and they run away. They get in an accident. Michael Fassbender gets stuck in.
So they got the keys.
They did get the keys. Okay. Yeah, he had his phone, his wallet, of course he had all that stuff. And so he tells his girlfriend, go, leave me behind, go get help. So she runs away. Eventually, next time we find Michael Fassbender, he's tied to a tree stump with barbed wire. And they're all standing around like, oh, what do? We got to get rid of him. And the kid's like, yeah, we're going to fucking kill him. And his friends are like, no, we're not. We didn't do anything. This was all you. Like, I'm not going to jail for this. And he makes each of the kids like cut him or stab him and record it on a phone and be like, now we're all in this together. There's no backing out now. And one of the kids, like 10 years old, he's real small. And some of the kids are a little more gung-ho, like really digging in there. And some of them are just doing smaller cuts. But the youngest one, he's the mean kid, gives him a box cutter and he's like, cut his fucking tongue out. He's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. You fucking do it. And he's just like pressuring him. And then he takes the box cutter and shoves it in his mouth and then wiggles it around.
No.
Can you imagine a box cutter scraping your teeth, your tongue, your gums, your cheeks? And he's just like spitting out blood. And eventually like she makes a noise and they go chasing after her and he gets loose. And this movie just gets worse and worse. Every time you think something good is going to happen, it gets worse. Every time they get away, she has to hide in some like rancid, putrid trash can that's probably like infecting all of her wounds and everything. So fast forward to a bunch of shit. Like the little kid sneaks up behind her and she stabs him in the neck and kills him. Totally regrets it, but it was just a quick act. Michael Fassbender is now dead. He is bled out from his wounds, and she runs and comes across this house, and there's a bunch of adults in the backyard just like having a pool party, and she's covered in blood and grime, and she's gone through absolute hell. And she ran over the woman too. She was like running in the road, and she got a car back and ran her, and then the bully kid like beat up one of his friends because he said he was going to go to the cops, and so it's escalated to crazy amounts. So she runs into the backyard and is just like, please, someone help me. And they're like, oh, okay, we'll help. And they're trying to get her cleaned up, trying to get the story right. But then she notices it's the kid's parents. It's his house. And it's all the kids' parents. They're all friends. And word gets back to them, oh, she killed this other little kid. And they're like, oh, well, we got to take care of our own. And they take her into the bathroom and fucking kill her. You don't see it, but you hear her screams, and then it cuts out. And then the main kid, he survives, and he's just looking at the phone of the videos, deletes it, looks himself in the mirror, like puts on some cool guy sunglasses, and that's the end. It's so bleak and dark and messed up. It's awesome. It was really good. And I remember I have a list of movies to watch, and this was one of them, and I don't know why. It must have been one of those like Watch Mojo 10 horrific scenes of underrated movies. But I saw it on like Tubi or Freevee or one of those things. So I did have to watch some ads, but I know I just spoiled everything about it, but it is messed up and it is fantastic.
I feel changed just listening to you describe it. I'm not typically a squeamish person, but like, I think I've said it on this podcast before. I know I've said it to you a million times. Mouth stuff, I don't fuck with.
Yeah.
Like watching, what was it?
Cure for Wellness.
the tooth drilling scene.
Oh my god,
is one of the worst things I've ever seen on film. As like, it's not bloody, it's not particularly violent, but just the sound of a drill going through someone's tooth and then it shattering has never left my brain.
That happened to my dad.
No.
He was at the dentist and they were drilling on a tooth and it shattered.
God damn.
Yeah, it's messed up. Maybe I shouldn't have spoiled it for you to watch it. I don't know if you're ever going to watch this.
Not now.
Okay. But the next day I was telling anybody I could come across about the box cutter scene just to see their reaction, and everyone did pretty much the same thing of you. The realization of having that small blade in your mouth being just wiggled around.
Yeah, because I work with box cutters every day, and like, they're designed to just slice through anything. Yeah, yep. I mean, they can get dull or whatever, but no, you don't fuck with box cutters.
No. Yeah, so that's Eden Lake. Check it out. What do you got next?
I feel heavy. I can't remember if we talked about it, but Solar Opposites, watched all of that.
Good.
Another great season.
Amazing season.
Great show. Love it. Terry's shirts are
so good. Yeah.
Such a good bit, because that's one of my biggest complaints. Not say they complain. I get it. It's just easier. But it's like you watch cartoons and they, for 1,000 episodes, they'll wear the exact same outfit. Mm-hmm. So seeing at least one character whose outfit changes every episode is fun.
Yeah. What did you think of like their new spinoff of the Silver Cops?
Yeah,
They will be returning. They said.
Yeah. I'm glad that they're doing something else besides the Wall.
Sure.
If they want to kind of wrap up the Wall storyline. I mean, I love all the Wall stuff.
Yeah.
I'd
That
happily
whole
watch yeah.
hallucination of what could have been.
Mm-hmm. But if they're like getting away from that and doing Silver Cops, I'd be okay with that. I thought that episode was fun. But it didn't necessarily blow me away right away. But I'll give it a shot. Just taking the whole episode of them just waiting in line.
Best episode of the season.
And just
Love
having
it.
like all the pupa stuff in the background. And that is just like, oh, that looks so fun. And just
They're
like,
giving away PS6s. Wait, who's giving it away?
And I think my favorite Terry shirt this season was Alexa, stop. I don't know. It's just like a simple bit. I don't know. I really like that T-shirt.
Yeah.
Anyway, great stuff.
Yep.
Solar Opposites. Watch that. And I watched The Gray Man, which you went into detail about last episode. I think I liked it more than you. I will agree, kind of by the numbers. Ryan Gosling, once again, doing like an emotionless dude. But, I think he was just charming enough to watch. But, man, Chris Evans, the fucking best. We've had a Chris Evans off on the show and just...
I'd love to have Chris Evans get off.
Yeah, just gush about Chris Evans. Fantastic in this movie. I love seeing him as the villain. I'd once again watch that guy in anything. He's great.
Yeah.
My last two things. I watched both seasons of Hacks, which is on HBO.
Oh, okay.
Hacks is about a comedy writer or wannabe comedy writer who gets a job working for like a old female comedian who
She's out of touch or lost her prime. Or
I mean, she's had a show on Vegas for like 20 plus years, and she does it every night, and it's kind of like her thing. She was going to be the first woman with a late night talk show, but that kind of fell through after like she burned down her husband's house because he left her for her sister, and it's just an adorable little show with like these, like, she's awful. She's like your classic, oh, I have money, I can do whatever I want, and kind of treat people shitty, and like I'll just buy these ludicrous things because I can. And she's her comedy writer. She is like this dopey like millennial. It's like the Odd Couple thing of like, I'm an old person, you're a young person, and she's constantly going like, you can't say that, that's not PC, and she's like, well, fuck your PC culture kind of stuff, and there's their back and forth. But like them, when they're in the zone of like joking and like making fun of each other and like really working on the comedy, it's all really great. Like Gene Smart is the like aged comedian, and Gene Smart is great in everything. I love Gene Smart. And if you don't know who Gene Smart is, she's been in the industry forever, and her most recent thing that I can think of was she was in Watchmen.
Yeah, she was Silk Spectre.
So yeah,
Silk Spectre 2.
Silk Spectre 2, yeah. But like all of her stand-up didn't really make me laugh all that much. It was kind of like classic, like kind of old people jokes. They're just like, oh yeah, my husband always blah blah blah, and that's why I don't do that in bed anymore. Like whatever. But I think it'd be right up your alley. It's from the people who made Broad City. And Paul W. Downs is a writer on the show, and he has a part as their agent, and his assistant is like this just real kind of like dumb girl who just happens to be like his boss's daughter. And so she's like constantly fucking things up and like being really inappropriate with him, and he's just like, no, this isn't happening, and just like it's a constant annoyance, and like that's where like some of the best humor comes from, is those two. And I think it's a show you would actually really really like if you like that kind of humor. And it's been up for a bunch of Emmys and everything. It's getting a season 3. It's a real quick watch. Each episode's 30 minutes. 10 episodes a season, I think. So you can breeze through it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it looks like the second lead, she doesn't have much on her IMDb. She has 4 other acting, or including Hack, she has 4 acting credits.
Yeah, she's I'd never seen her before until this show, but she's great on it.
That's got to be so cool to be like a fresh starting actress, and then boom, you get your own show.
And I think she and I could be wrong. I think she created the show or co-created the show with like the people who did Broad City.
Okay.
So this is kind of like her baby that just launched and like instant Emmy nominations.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, they're both really good. There's like heartwarming stuff. There's dramatic stuff. It really blends both the comedy and the drama really well. And it treats women really well and like gives them agency where they don't have to be like super sexy, but they can be sexy if they want to. And it just great stuff all around.
I remember seeing a trailer for a movie that it almost was like the same premise, but it was with music. Like there's a woman who has an act in Las Vegas, and she's, you know, a Patti LaBelle type figure. And there's a, like, Dakota Johnson is going to be her, like, her new manager and try to get her new album out or something.
I know what you're talking about.
Did that ever come out?
I don't know.
Huh. Anyhow.
If it did, maybe, I don't know, maybe not to theaters, but it just, like, went straight to on demand or something. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I have no idea what it's called. But it was Dakota Johnson and something Ellis Ross.
Isn't she on, like, Blackish?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was like the star.
Let's see. Persuasion, Am I Okay, Cha-Cha Real Smooth, The Lost Daughter, The High Note.
The High Note.
It's probably The High Note. Yeah. May 29, 2020 is when it came out.
Yeah.
So.
Peak COVID times.
Yep. Oh, that poor movie. Anywho.
I mean, that movie wasn't going to do well anyway.
No, but I just remember.
Yeah, it's a similar concept.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I have two. Well, I have a movie and a show. I'm going to let you pick. Do you want to hear about a movie? You want to hear about a show? You just did a show. I'll do a show. How about that? Okay. So I watched a show called Blackbird. It's on Apple TV.
If I had Apple TV, this would be on my list. I have seen the trailer. It did look pretty interesting.
It's kind of Mindhunter for dummies.
Okay, yeah.
So the basic premise is Taron Egerton, hotshot drug dealer, handsome dude, charming. Everyone loves him. You know, he could talk to anybody. He could charm anyone. He's banging women left and right. He's just a cool dude. He gets caught. We're just
talking about Taron Egerton, not the character he's playing.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we're just talking about the actor. I mean, and I gotta say, this dude is fucking buff. I can't believe how ripped he is. He's huge in this. For not being a big guy, he's enormous. Smallest waist, huge shoulders. You only see him without a shirt like 2 times, but like...
I mean, he was pretty big in Kingsman.
He's bigger.
Yeah.
It's like... You know,
he's definitely trying to audition for Wolverine, whether he wants to
absolutely,
or not.
I think so. It's like the difference between Chris Hemsworth in Star Trek versus Love and Thunder. Like, he's huge. But anywho, so he gets caught with guns, has to go to prison. He's trying to take a plea deal. He thinks he's going to get 5 years, but he'll get out in 4 with good behavior. But the judge is trying to make it, or the prosecution is trying to make an example of him, and he gets 10 years. And he didn't realize he was going to have to be in prison that long. And so after a while, the FBI comes to him and says there's a serial killer named Larry Hall. We have him in prison. We could only connect him to one, but we want to find the body of a second killing, and we think we could probably connect him to like up to 12 other murders, but we have like no evidence on that. And since you're such a likable person, we want you to talk him up, become his best friend, and learn as much as you can. And if you do that, you get out of prison for free, and you don't have to do your 10 years. So
how long has he been in prison at this point?
I think it's only been a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But his dad had a stroke, and his mom's like, he doesn't have 3 years, let alone 10. So if you ever want to see your father again, you got to get out of there. And his father was a cop, a dirty cop, and who kind of fucks things up for him when he's in prison. Like, he's had his stroke. He comes to visit, and he tells all the guards, oh, that's my son. He's the son of a cop. You better look out for him. And they're like, okay, hey, you better give me $10,000, or I'm going to tell every person in this prison you're the son of a cop. And these are like the worst of the worst prisoners. These are absolute psychopaths. So it's a subplot that happens that's stupid. That it doesn't go anywhere. It was like padding time. But anywho, he meets Larry Hall, played by Paul Walter Hauser. He was in Black Klansman. He was in I, Tonya.
Cobra Kai.
He's in Cobra Kai. He's in Richard Jewell. He's really good at playing like weirdo, loner, gross people.
Yeah.
I feel bad. He plays so many gross dudes.
I'm sure he doesn't.
I'm sure he's
Considering
fine.
all the roles he's got.
I know he, like, I follow him on Twitter, and he's trying to like lose weight, and he doesn't want to play just fat guys anymore. And he's definitely skinnier in this, but he's got like these big sideburns that connect to a mustache. He's got like broken blood vessels on his nose, and he has a voice that's really light and soft like this. It's really weird, and I like, it's almost funny, but he's so gross and scary that it's terrifying. And he's a little simpler. Larry Hall is a twin. He has a brother, Gary Hall, but Gary like absorbed all the nutrients, so he's tall, athletic, handsome, and a normal human being, and he is a fucking weirdo, gross mongoloid person.
So it's not like identical twins.
No.
It's okay.
His brother just sucked all his nutrients in the room, so he didn't develop properly. And he's a janitor. He has a van. He knows all about like engine parts and cleaners, and he is grabbing girls off the street and thinking like, oh, these girls are so nice, and like they talk to me, and then they get really mean, and then I had to put the rag over their face because they weren't being nice anymore. And Taron Egerton is trying to get information out, and the FBI agent and Greg Kinnear, who was working on this Larry Hall case for years, they're trying to open it back up, drum up any sort of clues, because they got to get Taron Egerton out of there, and Larry Hall is up for parole, and this guy can be back on the street, and it's really good, but. With Mindhunter, you have like really intelligent people talking to other very intelligent people, and it's a cat and mouse game of getting information out. And this is Taron Egerton just going like, so you like girls? And it's like he's not good at it, and he's not supposed to be. He is just a normal guy, but it's hard to watch when you think, play it this way, and he's so obvious that he isn't on the same level as him. Yeah, and then so... In case you do, I won't spoil this one, but
yeah. I'd be interested to see this.
So yeah, it's pretty good, and like I said, Mindhunter for dummies. I'd give it like
I'm a dummy.
Yeah, I'd give it like a B.
By the way, if any executives are listening at Netflix, bring Mindhunter back.
Yeah.
Best fucking show you guys have made.
So Netflix, what are you doing? You're so stupid.
A Fincher project? Really? Come on.
He's one of the best, and it was such a good show, but. It's too expensive, but we can throw $250 million at Stranger Things. But I mean, that is one of their more popular shows. I get it, but yeah, Blackbird, really good. I have few issues with it, mainly for the acting. Paul Walter Hauser's great.
What the Blackbird is?
Yeah, not till the very, very end, but
Got it, okay.
I know the whole time I'm like, where's this Blackbird coming in? And you get a little idea, but you don't necessarily know all the context.
It's just like the Reservoir Dogs scene whenever he's like killing the women. He's just like, blackbirds in the dead of night. Is that it?
No, not at all.
Learn to fly, and it's just like slices off their face. I don't know what he does.
Do you want to know? It's
I
not
don't.
important really to the plot.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, so I just got.
I don't know if we need to cut that because I don't know if we have the.
No, that was a few sentences.
Okay,
You're
great,
fine.
great.
It's once I think you pass like 12 seconds, then you start. Gotta worry. So I got one more thing before we get to our main topic. What do you got?
I have one more thing before the main topic as well.
All right, let's hear it.
So it's not something that I watched on TV or on the big screen. It's not something I read, but it is something I watched. I watched a local theater production of the film Legally Blonde, the musical.
My sister is in that.
Oh yeah?
I mean, not here. She lives in a different state, but yeah.
Who does she play?
Oh, fuck you.
Do you know?
No. I want to say like maybe the Jennifer Coolidge character.
Okay.
Someone's mom. I'm not 100%.
So this is a local theater near where I live. And, I've seen local theater, and it's really hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
The place we were in, we were on these, self-made, everything's self-made, but it's, 2x4 platforms where people put fold-out chairs on.
Okay.
So, if this thing broke, it wouldn't surprise me. But it's been a long, long time since I've seen Legally Blonde. And you know what? The show is actually pretty good. And it's interesting because I saw this production and then yesterday I saw another different theater put on like the 100 years of Broadway, and they just did like select songs from different Broadway shows over the past 100 years. And what I've noticed is in local theater, it's either people ages like 10 to 17 and then like 40 and up. It's like kids who are getting into theater and have the free time to do it, or like older people who like didn't make their dream, or like now that their kids have grown up or whatever, they have some more free time to do like local theater. So it was very interesting to see like these two groups like working together. And there was just like the one girl who played Elle Woods. She was great. And I think she was like 21, so she was like the only person who was like kind of in a middle point. Okay. Because you had like some 17-year-olds teamed up with like a woman in her like late 30s, and they were like her college friends. But anyway, we're getting beside the point. Yeah. It's just like things I noticed. Actually, pretty great. A pretty good show. Music was a lot of fun. There wasn't any like real number that was like the standout. Like, oh, this is like the big number of the show. The woman who played the Jennifer Coolidge character, she was actually friends with my wife, and that's kind of like how my wife found out about it, and we went. She was actually great. She wasn't doing a Jennifer Coolidge impression. She was doing like kind of a New York accent, I think, kind of thing. But she did that accent as she did like her whole big song, which was probably my favorite song in the show. But the only reason I really wanted to bring this up is because like obviously there's a big number in the middle of the show, and then like it was like a reprise at the end where it's just like legally blonde, and it's like, what does that mean? Because at one point it's
she
like,
got a license to be blonde.
Yeah, it's like she wins her case and gets kissed by her sleazy head lawyer boss or whatever, and he's just like, you're fired, you're not gonna make it in this town, or whatever the fuck is. And she's just like, oh, I guess I'll quit law and I'll just go back and I'll just go back to my hometown and be there and be legally blonde. And it was just like this whole bit about being like legally blonde. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. It's just like a throwaway sentence. It's just like, well, the movie's called Legally Blonde. We gotta have a big number called Legally Blonde.
Yeah, but like, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And it's just like, it was just really funny concept, because me and my wife have decided like whenever we're watching something or see something that just like doesn't make sense, it's just like, Legally Blonde. Like that's just
I guess it's just Legally Blonde.
Yeah. It's just
that doesn't make sense. Like, in a world where blondes are outlawed, brunettes and redheads only, you must get your permit to be blonde.
Yeah, if it's the concept of just like, well, I don't have to work hard, or I don't have to care about stuff. It's just like, because I have a license to be dumb or whatever. If that's like the bit they're going for, I can like kind of get behind it. But like, she passed law school. She's really smart. She's really capable, and that was the whole point of the movie. It's just like, she looks like she wouldn't be able to do these things, but she can. But just the concept of being like, oh, I guess I'll have to be legally blonde, and just like, no, that doesn't mean anything. It's just like, I can just say, oh, I guess I'm legally tall. Yeah. It's like, okay, great.
I'm legally right-handed. Okay.
But anyway, fun show. If you're a theater lover, I recommend it. Support local theater. But I just wanted to talk about that bit because it is based on a film.
Yeah. I've never seen the movie.
Oh, you really?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, the movie's pretty fun too.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. I mean, it's silly. I don't think it's a movie that they would make now. I think it's kind of a relic of its time. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun film, and they did a good job transitioning it into a stage musical. But I just wanted to talk about that one really weird concept.
My sister played Elle's mom, and that's her as Elle's mom.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Legally Blonde, the musical, the local musical, not even in Broadway.
Yeah. Well, Broadway's expensive, so
yes, it is.
Local theater is a nice alternative. $15 to see that show. Maybe it was 20, but either way.
Well, speaking of fuck you Netflix, I watched a movie. Brand new movie. Just came out. It's called Day Shift with Jamie Foxx and Dave Franco.
I've seen them on the YouTubes. They were promoting something, but I didn't know it was that. Okay.
So Jamie Foxx just pretends to be a pool cleaner so he can get close to certain houses to kill vampires because, that's kind of his thing. He was part of a thing. It was called like the Union. But he's been kicked out because he's just too reckless for these normal vampire hunters. He doesn't play by the rules. And he's pulling their fangs and he's trying to sell them. And you could like age vampires by their teeth, and there's like 5 different breeds. You have like the real zombie like ones, and you have like the Ubers, the spiders, and the Southerns, and the Easterns or something. They don't get too far into it, but there's different breeds.
It sounds like there's street gangs of vampires. Oh, you don't want to mess with those Eastern vamps.
Yeah,
no, the Southern ones are the ones you got to worry about.
But it's all like in California too, so it's not like East Coast. It's like Eastern California. and so there's this evil vampire lady who's been around for years who wants to take back the valley because or they have like a sunscreen they can wear now where they can be out in light a little more than normal. She's buying properties one by one, and then it's just going to be like a whole vampire area. And Jamie Foxx accidentally kills her daughter. It's like a little old lady, but it was her daughter because like she was a vampire. She had a daughter. She had to leave her by the time they found her daughter again. She was an old lady. Then she bit her. So her daughter is his old lady vampire. Jamie Foxx kills her, and so she's like, I'm going to come after you. He needs money because his wife is going to take their daughter and move to Florida. And he's got to get $10,000 in 10 days. Otherwise, she's going to up and leave. So he's really hitting the town and trying to get as many vampire fangs as he can so he could pawn shop them. But of course, like Peter Stormare's the scuzzy pawn shop guy. And, he's only going to give $800 for something that's worth like $3,000 because like, hey, you want union prices? You go join the union, but you can't. You got to come to me.
Sebulba. Real quick, can I just say, like, I'd like to see Peter Stormare in like a romantic comedy. Like this, I mean, I get he has a scummy, sleazy face, and that's, made him a ton of money and acting gigs and stuff. But like, just make that guy like a sweetheart and something. And there may be a movie that exists with him that does it. I haven't seen it, though.
I doubt it.
I mean, dude played Satan in Constantine.
If he was in a romantic comedy, he's the asshole boss who is keeping her back late.
Sure.
He's never having the meet cute moment.
No, I want him to have the meet cute. And like maybe they even think like, oh, this guy is really creepy and gross, but turns out he's like, donates his kidneys to orphans or something. I don't know. But,
he has like so many kidneys.
Just the sweetest guy.
So Jamie Foxx wants to like go back to the Union and gets Snoop Dogg to vouch for him. Snoop Dogg's like the coolest vampire hunter in the area. He's just a badass. But of course, it's Snoop Dogg, so he's playing the character like Snoop Dogg. And so they give him a provisional thing like, all right, you can join the Union again, but one slip up and you're out of here. It's like the most basic cop cliche story. So they assign him Dave Franco, who's like the pencil pusher, nebbish office guy. And the chief is like, as soon as he messes up, you let me know. So we can fire him and you can get off the field. He's a big scaredy cat. And so they go on a big vampire hunting spree and team up with other people. And there's a nest of vampires and yada, 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 and whatever. And he's breaking rules, but they're learning to be friends and blah, blah, blah. This movie's terrible. This movie is...
I had a feeling.
I think it's supposed to be a comedy, but it is not funny. Like, did you see that other Netflix Jamie Foxx movie, Project Power?
I did.
Okay. Cool concept, fun visuals, neat set pieces, but then Jamie Foxx is in it, and he ruins it. He's really bad in that, and he's really bad in this. I think he's telling jokes, but I can't tell because nothing is funny. And then Dave Franco is just screaming his head off, panicking and throwing up at the sight of blood. And I think that's supposed to be funny as well, but it's just annoying. Mm-hmm. And so you don't root for either of these characters. They're just the worst. But I gave it a D+ because the action is really awesome. Like,
Yeah?
they it seems like every stunt performer was a contortionist. So you're fighting this vampire and you go to punch and then they like jump up and twist around your arm and then like do a wrestling move to flip you over. And he's picking people up, slamming them into walls and like folding them like accordions. And a lot of it's like practical because they can move, and they're like, that a vampire will be standing on its hands and like running towards you and like fighting you with his feet. There's a lot of fun set pieces, and I like the lore of the world of, you know, it's not a stake to the heart that kills vampires. They're actually allergic to wood, and so he puts like wood in the pellets, and you got to shoot them in the heart. Then you can cut their head off. He has this little like tripwire thing that he puts it at neck level, so when a vampire's running at them, they just like behead themselves. There's a lot of fun stuff, but James Franco is, I'm sorry, not James Franco. Dave Franco is annoying. He's not, I don't really love either Franco brothers, but I'd rather watch a James Franco movie. Dave Franco doesn't know how to move his teeth. He acts through his teeth, especially like if you watch 21 Jump Street. He just kind of keeps his teeth together and talks through them. And Jamie Foxx is pretty much bad in everything. Like, we're past his Oscar performances of Ray. Jamie Foxx doesn't make good movies. And this is, once again, a great concept, fun bits, but it's held down by really unlikable leads.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if, like, Jamie Foxx just, like, doesn't put an effort into stuff if it's not, like, something he thinks can give him an Oscar nomination. Is like, maybe. Okay, I know this isn't like an award-worthy film, so I'm just gonna like kind of half-ass it because I'm here for the paycheck, and then it's on to the next thing. Because I mean, I've seen him. He did an interview with Howard Stern where they were asking about Django, and it may have been the time when it was coming out or something. And it was just like he was talking about working with Quentin Tarantino. It was just like, yeah, so I came in on the first day, and you know, and I was reading my lines, and I was like, da 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 da, and like, I was being like a cool guy, and Quentin Tarantino pulled me aside, just like, don't fucking do this shit. Like, I knew this shit was gonna happen. You're gonna come in here, like, he's not fucking cool. He's a fucking slave.
Yeah.
And like, did this whole thing, and basically just said like, this is fucking trash. Like, do better. And so like, and then he made Django, and Django was like great, and I like Jamie Foxx in that movie. It's just like, so and I know he's capable. I've never seen Ray, but it's like he's capable of these like really great performances. I think he just keeps working with like dudes who like don't care about his performance, or partially not him. It's like, I hated Jamie Foxx for a long time, and so it's like, and I don't want to say I dislike Jamie Foxx, but yeah, he does make bad movies, and I think it's just because like no one reels him in because he's like, he's a big huge star and he's like too cool for everything. It's just, I just don't know if he like gives a shit about like most of the stuff he does, unless it's like he can book a gig with somebody important. I don't know if like they're just not calling or what, or maybe he's just bad. He just got lucky with Django and Ray.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't care for Jamie Foxx films either. But
I would say put it on and just like fast forward. But once you start seeing action happen, watch it all because it's all really fun. All right. You ready for our main topic?
Let's get into. Hang on. Let's find the right transition to this. Well, you know what, Ben? I've been feeling a little down lately, and I was trying to figure out like what would bring me out of this. You know, is it, you know, did I just need like a nice something to eat to like bring me out of my funk? Is it like, do I need to watch something or play something that would bring me joy? And you know what? I thought I should pray on it. Pray on Hulu. Here we go.
See, I thought you were going to make an eat, pray, love joke.
Oh, that
I'm looking for something to entertain me, and maybe I'm a little bit hungry, so and then there's this movie on TV, so, I ate and
I looked into the skies, and I prayed. And then I thought...
That's not the right pray. That's what
I know, that's...
You fool. Have you seen the movie poster for this, or one of the movie posters?
The only thing I've seen of it is just like the girl with the green on her face.
Yeah, which I think is an ugly poster. It really makes
great. It's just
it works in the movie.
Yeah.
But it almost looks like she's like a football fan or something.
Yeah,
and she just has weird neon paint. But like, look at this poster. You would think she's fighting an enormous predator. It's like she's fighting King Kong.
What is What is
It's our lead jumping off of a cliff with like tomahawk in hand,
this?
jumping
Is an official
at
poster?
I guess jumping at like King
This is
Kong
like Matthew
size.
McConaughey at the end of Reign of Fire. Just like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. I mean, is it trying to be like, oh, it's a mountain, like because she's jumping off like this peak over here? But I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Yeah.
And it's probably just like, ooh, the odds against her are monumental, yada, yada, yada. But that's a bad poster.
Oh, that's awful.
That's ugly. So, speaking of bad segues, Prey! So, Prey is on Hulu. It was one of the first Disney movies to use a Fox property after the acquisition.
Oh.
Yeah. This actually feels more like this was a Fox movie that they said, well, it's already made. Let's just shove it on streaming. Mm-hmm. This should have gone to theaters.
Agreed.
It's simpler than a lot of Predator movies, but it's so much better than any other Alien or Predator movie we've had in the last 15 years. Mm-hmm. What were you going to say something?
Well, no. We'll get more into it.
All right. So Prey, directed by Dan Trachtenberg, most notable for 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Love that movie.
Great movie. He did some Black Mirror. He did some Boys. So Prey is the story of a young Comanche woman who is trying to prove herself to her tribe that she could be more than just the medicine lady, the cooking lady. She could actually be out on the hunt. And she wants to do the big hunt just like her big brother has done. And there's something out in the woods killing people. Oh, yeah, it's like 1719. And they think, oh, it must be a lion. And when they were saying lion, I was thinking big-maned African lion. And like, wait, isn't this supposed to take place in America? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we also have lions. They're just called mountain lions.
Right.
And so they start noticing, like, animals being ripped apart, weird blood, and something is out there that's killing people. And it turns out it's a predator. Surprise, surprise. And then we have
But I mean, it's not this movie. Going in, the movie knows it's a predator. Like
yes.
you see the predator land, and like it's not like it's a secret that's like, what's this thing out here? It's like it's a predator.
But if you went into this movie not knowing anything, and you just see this weird CGI ship, and then this alien monster turn invisible, it's kind of like a whiplash. You kind of have to know going in that this is a Predator movie. Now, it would have been great to never hear of this movie, and someone said, oh, hey, I got a cool movie. Tells me nothing, and we just start it. Okay, that'd be cool. But if you go, hey, there's this crazy Native American movie you got to see, but you don't know that there's weird aliens in it, it's a little jarring. Because some of the effects in the beginning are that turning invisible isn't the greatest, but there's worse. Yeah.
No, I mean, I didn't have a problem with the invisibility stuff.
I don't know. Where do you start? We don't. I don't think we need to like talk about every beat of this movie. But on the ranking of all the Predator movies, where does this fall for you?
So this would be my number one.
Really?
Yeah.
You're saying this is better than Predator?
Now hear me out.
Okay.
I don't know if I've actually ever seen
Fuck
Predator
you.
all the way
God
through.
Damn it, you dumb
Like,
stupid
I've
motherfucker.
seen enough of it to go like, yeah, I've seen Predator. Like, I've seen the ending. I've seen bits and pieces here. But like,
the big pop culture stuff.
Yeah, if I've ever sat down and watched it from beginning to end, I don't remember if I've actually done that. I saw Predators with Adrian Brody.
Okay.
I actually kind of like that movie. I think that one's a lot of fun.
We'll get into it. But.
Okay. I never saw 2. I did see Alien vs. Predator.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't care for that.
Okay.
Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Never saw it because I hear it's just like one of the worst movies. And then you and I watched Predator.
The Predator
together, which I hated.
Yes. Worst of that year. Real bad.
Real bad. So
of the 2 Predator movies you've seen, okay, I agree with you. 1.5, yeah.
But if I watch the original Predator, I have no doubt that would be my number 1, and
really
this would be number 2.
Watch 1 and 2. 2 is great too. 2 gets slept on. So
we've had this conversation before.
So yeah, my ranking, I'm gonna say it's probably Predator, Prey, Predator 2, Predators, AVP 1, AVP 2, The Predator.
Oh, you like The Predator less than Requiem?
Oh, absolutely.
Interesting.
It's
I mean, I don't know why I'm trying to argue with you because I've never seen Requiem.
the only thing I would say that Predator has over AVP Requiem is that you could actually see what's going on, since AVP Requiem is so dark. It's incredibly dark. It's a shame because there's a cool Predator alien hybrid, and when it's fighting the Predator and they're both like whipping around their dreadlocks, you can't really tell which one's which. It's very bad, and those directors shouldn't work, or at least they need to get better lighting people. But the Predator is one of the most annoying. It's real frat boy-y, like with all the prisoners who are just, making fucking pussy jokes and stuff, like just being so vulgar, and like Olivia Munn isn't the greatest actress, and then they have a subplot of autism is the next level of evolution, and it seems all real tone deaf and real, and that's the thing that blows my mind is it was written by the guy who made who wrote the first one. Shane Black is an amazing filmmaker, and so he wrote the original Predator, and now he's going to write and direct this one. It's going to be the best Predator movie ever, and it's the worst. It is so bad.
Yeah, because was Shane Black the guy who also wrote The Other Guys and
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang,
which are like some of my favorite movies? Like, he's so talented to write The Predators. Just watching that whole movie with you, I was like, this is wild.
It's embarrassing.
But the ending of that movie, I know we're not even talking about Prey right now, but the end of that movie with like the super suit or something just looked horrendous.
Yeah. I think that's better than what they wanted. They wanted like either Arnold Schwarzenegger to show up as Dutch, like an old version of Dutch. They were even talking about having like Newt in a cryopod from the future get transported back, and they would open it up and it'd be either Ripley or Newt. Like, they had all these terrible ideas.
Just to tease like another AVP?
Yeah.
Oh.
Awful ideas. So having this crazy suit that comes out of nowhere, it was much better. AVP 2 gets slept on. It takes a long time to get into it, but it's great. I love all the characters in it, and putting the Predator in a city. The
concrete jungle.
Yeah, the concrete jungle. Thank you. It is a real fun idea, and it's like in the not so distant future, and it's really hot and sweaty. It just has a good look, and I really love that movie. Predators, I think, is really good. Great idea, but the characters exist. There's more characters than, say, like in Prey, but they are all very kind of caricature.
Sure.
And then you have that twist of, I'm actually a serial killer and that's why I'm here. All that stuff was really stupid. I did like the play on, instead of hiding in mud, I'm actually going to play in the fire because, it has the same effect of blinding the Predator. There's some fun stuff, but it needed more different aliens on the planet. Other things that they hunt, maybe things that are lower level in intelligence, and some things that are maybe higher intelligence. Like Lawrence Fishburne should have been an alien. He should have been some sort of weird alien that learned to speak English somehow, uses a Predator helmet, something, just to show, hey, look, it's not just humans and beasts. There are higher thinking creatures on this. It just felt like it was almost there. It was almost great. It's like, it's really fun, but it's not the great.
Well, and I could be wrong, but doesn't the end of Predators, with like you see more things falling from the sky, like Adrian Brody survives, but he doesn't get off the planet.
Now, here comes the next wave of
It's
prisoners.
like, if there was a sequel, that might have been the idea. It's like, okay, we're going to do humans this round, see how we do against that, and then next week we'll drop in
weird tentacle monsters.
So it's just like, if that's the next phase, then that could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But we never got that.
It
didn't do that well.
No.
Which is a shame, because I thought that movie was kind of badass.
Yeah.
And the Goggins is in it. Shout out to the Gogs.
Talking about raping bitches.
Well, that's not what I was... Okay. Now where's it going?
Yeah, but it's like, he's perfect for that sort of character.
Yeah.
You need a scumbag.
And there's like a weird... not weird, but there's like a mini samurai fight in it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about the other Predator movies. We're talking about Prey.
Okay, so I'll start. So what I loved best about this movie is how small it was.
Yes.
And I think that was the right way to go, because I think so many of these franchises, especially one that's been going on so long, is like, how do we do it bigger? How do we do it? More Predators, more kills, more action sequences.
Yep.
And it's like, you don't need to do that. You take the concept of just like what is a predator, what is their purpose, and their purpose is they come to a planet, they find something to fight to try and make themselves better warriors, and going back in time to like if this is the first predator that lands on Earth, this is a fun concept of just like it has. You still get the futuristic stuff and the violence, but his technology isn't as great as it is in the future. And
I don't know. I think his tech is better in this than any of the other ones. Yeah. Because, like, in the future, he has a laser cannon, and this, it shoots, like, arrows. Yeah, they're homing arrows, so that's beneficial, but you could put a couple of those into the side of a bear, and it can keep coming at you. You blow a laser hole in the side of a bear, it's probably going to drop. The net was pretty much the same, but this one we actually got to see it really break down someone. He had a couple of extra things. He had the shield. He had that little like kind of it looked like a slap bracelet, so it could like cut your limb off if it got stuck in a trap. I think he had.
I think you still need to try and find new inventive ways, because if it was just a predator with the exact same technology, you'd be like, oh, that's boring. So it's like, here's some other stuff, or at least a variant of it.
Yes. I just think it looks older, because if you look at his armor, it doesn't look all flashy and metal. Right. It looks more bone. So I can see it being, oh, this was Gen 1 tech, and maybe later you have Gen 2, 3, 4, or whatever. But it's pretty much the same. He just had more of it than any other ones. Like he had that, instead of having a bomb blow up, he had a thing that shot out little drones that just killed everyone. So he had a lot going for him.
Right. And his bone mask I thought was pretty fucking cool.
So when he first showed up, I was like, oh, they redesigned the Predator. I'm not sure if I like that. But then the more and more I saw it, I'm like, no, this is fucking sweet. And I like that his mandibles are hanging on the outside. Because no Predator movie has really reinvented the Predator. They've all kind of looked the same. Some are bulkier, some maybe a
different color.
Yeah, but it's slight
stuff. Yeah,
and you get more variations of the actual Predator face, but the mask is always kind of the same. And it's a cool mask, but I'm glad that we got an update, because if we just had the same old Predator that we have always gotten, I think this would have dropped a few points for me. And it is cool. I love it. And you don't see him without his mask on enough, but I think that even there's enough difference.
Which I think is smart, though, because I think anytime I saw him without it, it was like, it seemed like it was always all CG, and it just didn't look that great, where like the practicals...
I thought you didn't have any problems with the CG. Earlier, you said you didn't have any problems with the CG.
No, with the invisible stuff.
Oh, okay.
Not...
Recanted.
The invisible CG didn't really bother me.
Got it.
And not that it looked bad, it just like didn't look as good as... when he was doing the full like rage yell or whatever. But yeah, like his bone mask, I really, really liked.
Apparently this Predator is from a part of their home planet that is drier and more arid. So that's why it kind of has that cow skull mask.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which would mean anything if we knew anything about the Predator's home world.
Which that's my biggest problem with the franchise, is like the Predators is such a cool looking race of creature with a cool concept of just like, we're warrior people and we want to make ourselves stronger, but you never see their home world. You don't have any idea of like their economy. It's like, do they live in cities? Do they live in jungles? Are there different variations? Like, there's like, you just said, apparently there's like the desert predators. There could be the jungle predators.
Snow predator.
It's like, and they're traveling on these planets, like, and they're bringing back this like knowledge, but like, what's their ultimate goal?
Yeah.
Do they have an ultimate goal? It's just like, this is their rite of passage. Are these predators like 16-year-olds, and then there's like actual predators that are Godzilla size? Who fucking knows?
Yeah. That's always been my problem as well, that you can't have an entire society of aliens that have developed space travel, and their whole thing is, let's just hunt the baddest thing on a planet. So I would really love to see, and we haven't even talked about the fucking movie yet, and we're always already talking about other stuff, but I don't care. We're just going to get it out of the way now. I would love to see their world where hunting is very important to the subsect of predators, but the ones that are inventing the science for the spaceships and for their weaponry and everything, like, look, there's more to us than that. Maybe when we were primitive, we were all about the hunt, but we've evolved past that, and there's people who are just clinging on to that old generation of, no, this is what we do.
Yeah, it's like a Mandalorian type situation where it's just like, oh, there's the warrior race, but then there's also the religious one, and there's like, you know, I'd like to see a predator in like robes, and it's just like a real dork and just like holding like documents, and like another predator like pushes him and is like, get out of my way, pussy, and he's just like, oh, my papers, and his glasses falls off.
The pocket protector. Yeah, but like we never see
Gerlach. Come on, man.
We never see like the women. Are there women predators? Mm-hmm. Do they give birth? Do they lay eggs?
Is it a queen situation where there's just one?
Or are they asexual and they just do it on their own? I want to see the actual life cycles and society of it. So here's a quick pitch.
All right.
I probably have pitched you before. This would not be a Predator series. It would actually be called like the Observer series. So there's this crazy alien, and we've seen it on like Star Trek.
So by series, you mean this is a TV show?
No. It's a movie.
But just a series of films.
Series of movies, but not each one is about the Predators.
Okay.
So he's an alien, and we've seen this in like Justice League and Star Trek, where he's kind of a collector of information, and he's talking directly to the audience like, oh, welcome to my ship, and oh, another one of my satellites have come back in to bring me new information, and he just collects info from every species in the known universe. And it's like, oh, this is an interesting one. These are the, what are they called? The Watcha? I think that's what the predators are called.
Okay.
And then it plays out like a BBC nature documentary, and you have him narrating over these people. Oh, look, this is the tribe that does a lot of the hunting stuff. Here's the birthing rituals, and then this is how they first got into the stars. And we just kind of see like the early stages, because this collector guy has satellites everywhere, so he's had millions of years and billions of years on these planets, and he just kind of boils it all down and gives us a quick little two-hour movie. So then you can take this series and go, what other crazy things are out there? Let's do one for the ET aliens, or something that's just on Earth. It could be, and you can just do it for any sort of number of things in the universe. And I think it'd be fun to just explore more without having to worry about the plot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that'll sell well.
No, not at all. But this is me of like, I win the Powerball, I have $1 billion, I get to walk into Disney/Fox and say, I want a Predator docuseries.
Yeah, I mean, I will give this series credit for not explaining stuff at the same time, because so many horror franchises are just like, well, we ran out, like, the thing that made the first movie scary was like, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And then you keep making more movies like, all right, well, now we're just going to develop more backstory and more ridiculous reasons. So it's like, oh, this character died, but then turns out this magical source or resurrect or spell, whatever the fuck. And just like, they just keep adding on to the lore, and it just kind of taints the lore even more. So I will give credit to whoever owns the rights to Predator for not ruining it in that way. But at the same time, like, you got to give me something, because it's just like, they're just like, oh, it's just a killing machine, essentially for the sake of killing. It's like, yeah, but like, it's a functioning society, like that has invented space travel, like they're, because they clearly don't care about conquering planets, because if they wanted to, they could.
Yeah.
But like, what what's the purpose?
Yeah. And if it was like, oh, we see a ship drop a pod, and the Predator's in that pod. If it's not Predator people flying that ship, it's some other alien race that have now, like, these are just kind of the underlings for this other race. Okay, I get why they're only hunters, because that's their only job. But actually, okay, here's a fun thing. I don't know how much of this is true. And it could have just been someone pitching me an idea, and I've scrambled it with all the other information. The Predators never developed Starflight or anything like that. A different alien race came down and enslaved them, and they, after millions of years, they rebelled, they killed their masters, and then they just adopted all this future tech, and they had to kind of just learn. And so now they have figured it out. They maybe could build this again if they need to, or maybe they just are barely keeping these things running. But in their primitive society, it was all about the hunt. Now they got all these cool gadgets and they go out and do the thing. But even though we've seen them for hundreds of years, like 1719 in this, and then like I think it's 2023 or 2019, 2009 in Predator 2. Like we've seen a couple hundred years. Their tech hasn't really changed all that much because they aren't the smart ones. They just kind of stole it and they're just driving around in Dad's car. And if it ran out of gas, who knows if they knew how to get back. Some of the movies kind of contradict that, but I think that's like a better explanation than just a society of hunters.
Yeah, and even if you do like that, what would be cool is it's like, oh, okay, well, they go from planet to planet and they're like your hired mercenary types, and their sole job is, yeah, we're to hunt, but we're data collectors. It's like we're hunting the strongest people or the strongest creatures on this planet, getting that information so we can take it back to not even sell, maybe sell, but it's like we're taking it back to a race of people who want to conquer planets. It's just like we're the guys who go in first.
Yeah. You could worry about these creatures, but not these ones.
Yeah. It's like these ones are no problem. These ones don't have technology.
Yeah.
These ones do. Or it's like these ones are really tough to kill, whatever. But you can do interesting stuff with the predators, but you don't. It's just like, oh, we're going to have some humans try and survive this scary alien thing.
Yep. Which, as a movie series, I'm totally fine with.
Sure.
At the end of this, they tease that there may be a sequel to it. I don't want a sequel to this movie because I'm done with these characters. She had her journey. She's proven herself. We don't need to show how they get that pirate gun back. Who cares? We just know that they do because, it's the same gun at the end of part 2.
I didn't. As watching the movie, I didn't know that, but I read stuff later.
Okay.
I was like, okay, that is a nod to something.
Yeah. So it's like we don't need that story. That's completely inferable. I don't know if that's even a word, but we can infer that information. The next one, Prey 2, it's a Predator with Vikings. Prey 3, it's a Predator with Samurai. Prey 4, it's in India.
Pray for
death.
Pray for death. Yeah. Pray to God. And it'd be like priests versus.
It's like a Predator in the Vatican.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So yeah, like Prey 2, God. Prey 4, death.
And then
but what do you do Prey 3? Pray 3 times.
Well, you do pray Roman numeral 3, but the 3 are the blades, and that's just it.
It's just Pray 3.
It's just Pray 3, yeah.
And then Pray for death.
Yeah.
Like it, Steve. Yeah,
that's what I'm here for, baby.
You just put them in other situations, and maybe
honestly, don't even make them canonical. You don't need to.
They don't have to connect at all.
Yeah, because like none of the other ones really are. I mean, Predator 1 and 2, I imagine are, and like I imagine some of the other Predator movies, like they do nods
like
to it.
1, 2,
obviously,
and Prey are technically connect. Oh, Predators is connected. They do mention the big thing that happened to Schwarzenegger. So they are. It's just the AVP ones are not.
But because those are so like minute things, you can just throw those away.
Absolutely.
Just like we're doing the Star Wars thing, we're just tossing out random shit or whatever.
And you know what?
Star Trek shit.
Make it all at the same time. Make it 1719, but the ships came and they went like, oh, we see a lot of landmass. Everybody pick yours. And one guy's like, oh, I'm taking America. And he goes to America and encounters natives. Oh, I'm taking Japan over there. He's encountering the samurai. And so these are all 10, 15 predators, whatever it is. They're all taking place at the same time, and they're supposed to have their hunt and come back and report. And then you have the culmination of all of them. Once we get to know all these predators who maybe they befriend some humans, maybe they survive, maybe they win everything.
And then you do the Avengers team-up movie where you have the girl from this one teaming up with the samurai from this one.
Exactly.
No, don't do that.
No, we don't want that. But just put them in different time periods, in different locations, doing the same thing. As long as the CG's cool and the death is cool, I'll be there for it.
I mean, I'd like there to be a story.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
But you'll just have that sort of thing. Oh, the Vikings are coming, and they're going to take this other clan, and then the Predator's like, ooh, look I could fight for both of these, but then maybe he notices, like, these ones are a little more honorable than these other ones. That's why, like, the samurai ones, he would really respect them and be joined into their clan, and he gets anointed as a samurai.
Because there'd be a scene where there'd be two predators, and he kills one, and then takes his helmet, and then like that's his like shogun kind of, and it would get the big old horns and stuff. So you'd have like this cool looking samurai armor. That'd be fucking dope.
And then you'd like with the Vikings, he would have the furs and maybe a battle axe instead of his spear. There's just a lot you can do.
Yeah.
And I don't need to see the further adventures of Nanuki. What the fuck is her name? Naru.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, this movie.
Oh yeah, this is a movie.
Performances. What do you think of Naru?
Pretty good.
I wouldn't say any of them are like knockout performances.
No,
but
everyone sounds maybe a little too modern.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously I don't want them to do any sort of stereotypical English-speaking natives that we may have seen in movies in the past, but it kind of felt like people from America.
Sure.
Modern America.
When this movie came out, I heard that there was a Comanche cut, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch that one because I thought. I was dumb and thought they like shot it in Comanche.
Well, that's kind of how it seemed like it was being reported that they did multiple takes in Comanche.
So I thought, so they basically shot the movie twice, and I was like, that's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I started watching the Comanche cut, and then the second it was just like, oh, this is dubbed. I'm just gonna watch it in English.
Yeah.
Because I was hoping to get like a real experience with it. So that was kind of disappointing. Yeah. But I switched back to the English version. And yeah, the performances were. Fine. I will say that I think she was really badass. I liked. I thought she was like all of her action sequences were really fucking cool. I mean, I think that the axe on a rope is a little silly.
Yeah.
But I think it's fun, so I was cool with it. And I liked how she like when she fell into that mud pit at the beginning. I was like, well, there's that thing that's gonna come back at the end. But I just thought she was gonna like hide in it.
Yeah.
But of course, like it's still like how she tricks him.
How she gets him, but she doesn't use it to cloak herself.
Yeah. Which I thought was like, oh, you got me, you tricked me.
There's only
I thought that's what she was gonna do.
One line of like the brother saying, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." That's like the only real connection. You have that mud scene, but they subvert it into another thing. So that was good. I did get some video gamey vibes. I had like a Horizon Zero Dawn when the bear's chasing her and she like jumps into the water and swim to the beaver dam. I don't know, it felt like Horizon Zero Dawn and having some crazy weapon that like God of War that can return to you.
Yeah.
Thank God she made that like 10 seconds before falling into quicksand.
Right.
Just very, very lucky. But it adds a little funky flair, and it's not just bow and arrows and hatchets. It was fun.
Yeah. And I thought it was a fun concept to bring in like the French fur trappers or whatever and have them just be like cannon fodder for this thing to just murder them in brutal ways.
Yeah, I love that scene where like she's unarmed and she just like takes a small step out of the way to let the predator walk by. I thought that was very cool.
Well, I saw this online later, but when she whistles to summon it, apparently like in Comanche lore, you don't you whistle at night because it apparently like brings out bad spirits. So like she did that as kind of like a symbolism of like, oh, this is a bad spirit, and I'm summoning the predator to kill this guy by whistling. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a fun. Like you wouldn't know that unless you like knew the culture or like read the trivia or whatever. But I was like, oh, that's a fun little idea. But yeah, just her sidestep, I agree, was just like so cool.
So like she's trying to prove herself, wants to go on the hunt, even though they're all saying like, get back in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. They're all like real shitheads, and they like kick the shit out of her at one point. They're like, we come out here to look for you, and here you off dicking around. And she tries to walk away, and they just like beat the ever-loving shit out of her. And like, okay, this is still like your friend's sister. She's still part of your tribe. I get like maybe she's a little too much to handle, but it almost seemed like the scene in the horror movie where like she's gonna get raped. And then the monster comes and kills him. But no, it doesn't happen. But I just thought it was a little extreme.
What I will say, I do really like her brother character. I like that he never really like...
Taabe? Taabe.
Sure.
Tabe.
We can brutally murder people's names. That's fine. But I like that he never really said like, at least in my memory, it's like he never really told her she couldn't do it, or
Yeah.
it was like just a bit. It was like an older brother protecting his little sister. It's
Are
like,
you sure?
Are you sure
really
you're not?
want
But
to?
like whenever she showed up, it was like, I'm not gonna be able to get rid of her. Like she might as well stay. Let's make her a part of this. Like,
And then takes her idea of how to kill
and
the
like
lion.
kind of supports the hunt and everything. And so I like that, even though he didn't necessarily try and push her to do what she was capable of, but didn't stop her from doing anything really either. So I like that he was a supportive brother and wasn't just like, no, you're a girl, get the fuck out of here kind of thing. But yeah, he let his douchey friends do all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, simple story, action was fun,
Good gore.
performances were solid, some special effects, but I don't really blame it. It's like we need to keep the budget low.
I think it was more the animals looked worse than he did, like the bear.
For the most part, I didn't have a problem with the predator, but like, the bear and the mountain lion showing up that they killed or whatever. And I like that she had like his blood as like the war paint at the end. I thought that was a really cool look.
Yeah. I kind of almost wish like she put it on herself, but it was like it just randomly splashed on her and made very similar patterns.
Yeah. And I like that she kind of became the war chief of the. I mean, by default, essentially, because he killed all the
dudes.
All the dudes are essentially dead.
But you walk
except for the old guys
with an alien head and you throw it on the ground. Like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I mean, no major complaints. This is probably one of my favorite movies of the year, just because I had such a good time. And even my wife, who doesn't. I mean, she wasn't sure if she wanted to watch this movie because she was worried it was going to be like scary, because I mean, it is kind of like a horror-ish franchise, but really it's more of an action movie.
Yeah.
She really liked it, and it's not scary at all. No. And I think there was some clever bits that they did with the tech. I really like the part where the one guy who's just like, please help me, and she like gives him that plant that I guess like makes you freeze.
Oh yeah.
And like heals his leg, but then the predator steps on his leg and goes, and he just like instantly gets stabbed. I thought that was a fun little bit.
It's nice to see them go like, well, how else can we cloak your temperature in a certain way? We've seen fire, we've seen mud, so it was nice seeing something else, but I think we kind of need to start moving away from that. My only major complaint, I don't love the ending of how she kills him. And it's more of a nitpicky tech bullshit. So she notices that his helmet has a laser on it and it can spread, and he'll shoot little daggers or darts out of it, and they will follow or go
They
to
will
that
always
laser.
land on the bullseye.
So she notices that he has his helmet off. She's luring him into the mud pit and has it so it when he crosses paths, it's right at his head. She's holding up the gun to show that she's a threat. He fires. They swing around and embed in the side of his head. Normally, I'd be okay with that, but why are the lasers activating? Just because he's pulling the gun, why would the lasers show up? It's not on. He's not using the helmet. It has to be laser guided every time you pull the trigger of that gun. I just feel like if it was off his head, that wouldn't function. That she should not be able to turn it on. It shouldn't be able to come on its own just because he shot the gun. It'd be one thing if he has it and she had a log on a rope and it came in a swing and it knocked it off and it happened to fall and it was pointing at him. I'd believe that more. But I think for a high tech, laser sighted homing gun thing, it shouldn't have been functional. Like, he would have it on his helmet. It would track its eyes. He would lock into where it goes. He'd make a weird click sound. The computer would know where to lock on, and then it would function. But if he just had the gun on its own, like, it's a liability. That the lasers could be in your ship or whatever, and all of a sudden you shoot it, and it's just going to fly all the way back to your ship.
Yeah, I mean, I don't 100% recall, and, maybe it is just like, oh, he thought that the thing was damaged, and if it's damaged, then like the tracking, like in his mind, the tracking system doesn't work because the helmet is smashed, or like he would assume the helmet is destroyed or whatever. So it's like, if I point it straight, it's just going to go straight.
I'm out of range from it. I don't know.
Something. But yeah, it's a classic movie kill in terms of
even if, like, she held it underneath the mud, and he holds up, and then right as he fires, she lifts it, and it's pointing right at him. I could believe that maybe a little more because at least she's like holding it, so maybe she's activating it in a certain way. But it's just propped up against a tree, and that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
And plus, like, you have to have a lot of faith you're going to get this guy in an exact spot for it to happen.
I mean, maybe it is a thing. He's walking, and then as soon as she lifts the gun, he stops and pulls out his gun. So maybe I don't know. It's one of those dumb things that
it's a movie thing.
It's just a cool thing. Whatever. Deal with it.
But one of the things I liked about Predators is you saw kind of dudes do hand-to-hand stuff, and I just kind of want to see. And once again, this is like I don't remember Predator, the very first one, all that well. And it's like you had the biggest guys in the world at the time, like physically big, not just like the biggest celebrity or whatever. But I just like to see humans just kind of like hand-to-hand combat these things, and that's what I liked about this one. Is just like you had the girl kind of do that,
or at least try,
and you know, obviously this thing is like super strong and fast.
This guy's uppercutting bears, you know.
And there's only so much a small child can do. But if I want to see in a future thing where it's like the Predator lands, maybe kills a bunch of dudes, but they're able to like capture it and take all of its tech away, so it's just down to its base form, and then I just want to see like it fight hand to hand against someone who can like also
end of Predator.
Yeah.
It's the end of the Predator. That's exactly what happens. Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Predator have a hand-to-hand fight. He takes off all of his stuff.
See, but the only reason I didn't say it because I remember he like pushed the button and laughs and goes ha 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 and like blows himself up. So I just assume he had the tech the whole time.
That's when you reveal the face and he takes everything off, and then he pretty much like gives him one backhand and sends Arnold Schwarzenegger flying.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, shit. Cut that all then.
Nope, leaving it in.
Now I look dumb.
Well, you came to a Predator discussion without ever seeing Predator, so
fair enough.
So I have a main topic I want to talk about for this. Is the Predator a bitch? Because he comes down. Their whole thing is, I'm going to land on this planet, fight the biggest motherfucker, and show that I'm awesome. With my cloaking device, my wrist blades, my razor net, my laser guided homing missiles. He has all this shit. And, oh, wow, I killed a bunch of people using bows and arrows. If I had his stuff, I could kill a bear. Like, you're supposed to be the best hunter, and you have all this tech, and you're fighting primitive people. And it's in every movie, he always has more tech than anybody else. Yeah. I mean, these things can take out aliens, no problem. Are they really all that good? Aren't they a bunch of wieners for not coming down completely nude and trying to fight something one-on-one to truly prove themselves?
Well, I don't think you can have them... I understand what you're saying, but I don't think you can go to a random planet. It's like, and especially you don't know their tech and everything. It's just like, so if it's like, I go... You know, I'm an alien, I land in America, and I'm nude. I'm like, I'm here to challenge people. It's like, I can walk up to any house and just get shot in the fucking face and die because, like, well, they have technology that
they don't have scanners to see that there's no satellites or any sort of communication things.
And that's the fault of these movies. Just like, you don't know the extent of, like, why they do what they do. But you go, like, okay, well, I know this invisibility thing will give me an advantage. I have certain weapons that, you know, I can use in combat. I don't know if it's necessarily like I want to prove myself better than them. It's like I want to give them a challenge, and if they can best me, I want to learn how they did that. That's what I'm giving them, because it's just like if I just go in blind and naked, then I'm probably going to be fucked, of course. But if I go in with some technology, maybe they've been to planets that have better technology than that.
Sure.
This is just like their based shit. And maybe they go into plenty of planets that like, this isn't better, but it's like, because I'm the bigger threat, they need to do things to get me.
Come on, Steve.
Yeah.
Say your words.
They need to rise to the challenge of besting me so I can so they can prove themselves as true warriors, you know.
I guess.
I get what you're saying though. It's kind of not a fair fight to go like, well, we're a warrior race. It's like, well, it's like a human punching a cat. Like it. Yeah. Like they can scratch back, but they're probably not gonna beat me.
It's like I could get into a boxing ring with Mike Tyson and I can beat him if I have an AK-47. Yeah. Like I don't care how big he is, how fast he is. I can shoot him a bunch. That's not a fair fight.
Yeah.
So I think they need.
So come at me, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, what are you gonna do about it, old man? Please don't. So besides, say there's not a sequel to Prey, we don't get our things. What's a different Predator sequel you'd like to see? I mean, I want to see Home Planet. I want to see them fighting in other time periods. Is there anything else you can really do?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure they've done plenty of meetings where it's like, it's always the same thing. And it's not that I necessarily want to see. I mean, we kind of got the concept in Predators, and we talked about it a little bit. It's like, oh, here's a planet where they drop people off and then hunt them and fight them or whatever. It's like, well, if they're like a warrior race and they're going to all these planets, like, why aren't they collecting things and coming back to their homeworld to do like in a Planet Hulk arena kind of thing?
Sure.
Where it's like, oh, here's a predator versus a human. Here's a predator versus the Marklars. Here's a predators versus
A Conehead.
A Conehead, yeah. Just like have them fight random things. It's like, and then it becomes like a prison escape.
Yeah.
Defeating the predators, stealing a ship to get back to the home world, and then at that point, do they go, or like, is it a bracket system where it's like humans are fighting different aliens from different planets as well, not just predators, and the predators become like, you're the final thing. We're the final boss. And then they go like, okay, humans are the ultimate alien that we have to fight. Great. Invasion time. And that's the sequel. It's like, now predators are coming because it's like, oh, these guys we got to fucking worry about.
Okay.
That kind of thing. Or
Sure.
like, it's now in the somewhat distant future. Humans have met up with predators multiple times. They're a threat. They can come to our planet anytime. We have no defense against them. So they develop all this anti-predator technology. It's like, okay, these are our greatest threat. Well, we need to wipe them out. And so then it becomes the Predator War, which is not necessarily what I want to see because, like I said, I liked that this movie was small and simple and back to basics. So if we have this stuff, I'm fine with it. But if you're going to go high concept, maybe that's the route.
Yeah.
Or maybe it just is that too big and ruins your franchise because now you're just like developing all this extra lore and shit.
Sure.
And part of the fun is the mystery. But I need more Predator information.
Yeah. Well, I watched a YouTube video about, do you know all the races of Predator? And they just went movie by movie and like, what's the difference between this kind and this kind? These are the elders, these are the ancients, and yeah. But I guess the predators that are in Predators doing that wild game preserve thing, that's not a normal thing for them. You don't pick things up and put it on a planet and hunt it. You need to fight in their environment. So these are kind of like rogue outliers that maybe like either they weren't allowed to go hunting, so they're doing it on their own illegally, or they're more fucked up and they want to kind of let us torture these people before we easily dispatch them. So yeah, but it's another thing of I need to know more. How many different races of Predator are there on their world? But yeah, was there a Predator civil war? Is there rogue factions that like, was there Predators versus Predators and all that kind of stuff? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I think you look at something like the Alien franchise, where the first one was so simple and small, and the second one was like, okay, well now there's a bunch of aliens versus the one, and then you get just like, well, okay, now we have the Queen alien, and then you like develop all these. You just start coming up with like new versions of this thing where like. Their initial pitch was like, there's just this one weird thing.
Yeah.
And then you get to later movies where you're trying to explain all this alien backstory with like deep lore and existential thinking and Michael Fassbender clones. Like there's the gods who may have created humans or something, and like the aliens were there to wipe out the super god alien creatures or whatever. And it's just like this whole big convoluted thing. It's like, if that's where you're trying to go with the Predator franchise,
I don't want none of this.
I don't want any of that. That's gonna fuck that shit up. Just make the Predator franchise like badass and fun.
Yeah.
Don't make it existential.
Yeah, we don't need to know every little thing about it, even though I want to know it, but you don't have to do it to make good movies. Where they figured, we got to tell the origins of the aliens. Where did they come from? Who cares? They're bugs. They're just like an infestation that got off of a planet somewhere, and they multiply quickly, and they're very deadly. None of this developed by an android who like sees the beauty of yada yada and all that dumb shit. They really.
And I never even saw Covenant, but I saw Prometheus, and Prometheus was
Even worse.
I mean, there's interesting concepts in there, I think.
Yeah, sure.
But some of it, in relation, like, I think that's a totally different movie of, like, space gods or whatever. Like,
Yes,
that
it's
could
not
be cool.
an alien
like,
thing.
oh, we went to this planet and discovered this race that may have invented humans or something. Like, that's fun.
And there's black goo and it fucks with your DNA. Cool. Make some other crazy alien.
But to, like, bring in the xenomorphs and stuff, just like
and then they don't even do it. They have that weird dolphin looking thing. I think it's called the Deacon. That's birthed out of. It's like the levels to get to an alien is so convoluted. It's a shame. It's so beautiful looking. It's one of the best looking sounding movies that have ever come out, but it's just a huge turd. And anybody who defends it, I think they are just like extreme fanboys of the aliens, and they have to say it's all good, which is dumb because most of the alien movies aren't very good. Even though I like all the original 4, they all have their merits. And as you know, I'm an Alien 3 apologist to the day I die. Alien 3 is just as good as Alien 1 and 2. And maybe not just as good, but it's right under there. Yeah, shit on Alien Resurrection all you want. I don't care.
What was the 4th one again?
Alien Resurrection.
Resurrection?
With Winona Ryder and the guy who...
Oh, okay. I didn't see 4.
Yeah. Yeah, we were supposed to do that. Well, when you were at your old place, when we watched 3, it was like, okay, next is 4, and we never got around to it. It's just a little too slick, and we're getting into a more modern era of filmmaking, so it just doesn't look the same. Like Alien 1, 2, and 3 all look very similar. You can believe this is all in the same world. And Alien 3 just has that weird Amelie gloss on it.
And can I just say, in terms of like horror franchises, they always get passed down to like no-name filmmakers, but what a franchise where it's like the first movie is Ridley Scott, launched a huge career doing all this interesting sci-fi stuff. Then you get James Cameron do the sequel, and then who do you get to the third one? David Fincher.
Yeah.
And it might be like the worst David Fincher film, but
no,
like you said, you really love it, and there's some merit to it. It's like what a
But he wasn't David Fincher at that time. Just like James Cameron wasn't James Cameron. Like when he was filming Aliens, Terminator hadn't even come out yet.
Right.
So yeah, once Terminator come out, everyone's hyped for it. But like he got that movie not off of any sort of other merit besides doing like Piranha 2.
I'm just saying, like, what other franchise can you say that had like such fantastic filmmakers, at least for those 3, and like that doesn't change.
4th one is done by the guy who made Amelie and City of Lost Children. He's a good director. He's just not the right director for that. And then you get Paul W.S. Anderson for AVP, and he's terrible, and all of his movies are bad. Except for one, but I can't think of one. It's not Event Horizon, but it's another one. And then
I was gonna say, didn't you love Event Horizon?
Event Horizon's fun.
Okay.
I liked it more in the past than I do now. And then some 2 no names who did AVPR, and then back to Ridley Scott for just 2 more stinkers. And I'm really very excited for the new show that's coming out for Aliens.
I didn't even know there was a show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I think it's an FX thing.
Oh, okay.
FX or Hulu, but
now,
yeah.
All right. So, is there anything else we want to say about this movie?
I don't think so. It's just a lot of fun. It's a little slow in the beginning. It takes some time to really get going, but it's just a good time. If you like limbs getting cut off and spines ripped out of snakes and stuff, or like you want to see a wolf get its spine ripped out. Oh, I really liked when he was doing the skull and like melting off all the flesh. Mm-hmm. That was cool.
Yeah.
Nope, I got nothing else to say about this movie. Do you?
No. Let's give it a grade. I'm gonna say B+.
I gave it a B+ as well.
All right, we're on the same page.
Yep. I initially gave it a B, but then I talking with other people and then like having to stew on it and it's like, yeah, actually I like that a lot. Oh no, I like that part a lot too. Yeah, I'll bump it up. I'll give it a B+. It's not A territory, but
if there's one thing I could change about it, I wish it was all in actual Comanche and just subtitled, because I wouldn't have minded that kind of thing.
And I've always pitched that before. Is like, if you're going to do a Predator movie on the Predator planet and we're seeing a dad and his son is going through the trials to become a warrior or whatever, I want it all subtitled. I just want clicks and growls or whatever. And just,
I mean, because they have a written language. You see it all in their helmets and stuff. Like they have, some sort of communication.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're developed. But I don't want to do that thing like they do in what's it? the L. Ron Hubbard movie.
Oh, Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth. Like, they have the great scene of, like, you know, like the aliens are speaking their language and they zoom in a little bit closer and then it cuts to English and it zooms out. And then when they hear the humans, we just sound like a bunch of apes. And then it will cut to us and then we're speaking English and we're only hearing the aliens speaking their language. I don't want that. I don't want a predator saying English words that aren't, I mean, he does in the movies where he's like just mimicking like a bird and it comes off creepy. I like that. But I wanted to just be like, little Jimmy Predator, let's go to Boy Scouts. And I don't want to hear like, honey, I'm home, or none of that. I just...
Little Jimmy Predator just like, Dad, honey, these humans is lit. No cap, Dad.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty good Predator impression, right?
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I guess if you could see, like, either the Predator fight a different creature, whether it be on our planet or another planet, what creature would that be? And or, like, you know, we've pitched a lot of movies. What would be the one you'd want to see? Not if it's good, not if it's just like, if Ben was going to watch a Predator movie, what's the one thing he would want to see?
I think I would love to see a predator crash land on our planet during dinosaurs. I think that would be fun. Just him trying to survive, fighting these big motherfuckers who maybe he's never experienced anything as large. And I think it'd be fun. A lot of cool deaths. And
Yeah, like, you know, maybe he's fighting some big stuff and he's using his tech, but I mean, you're going back millions of years.
I know.
But even if he has space travel and his same tech.
We'll say they can move through time and space.
Sure, okay. I think it could be fun, like, you know, if he has a time thing. His time thing breaks and so he's stuck and he has to fix it maybe or something. But he's like able to take down these bigger dinosaurs, but he kind of runs out of ammo and it's like, oh, I ran out of all my gear. So now he has to like do survival stuff. It's just like him doing human shit of just like, oh, I need to make a spear.
Yeah.
I need to make traps in order to like kill raptors and everything, or like kill this T-Rex. And then just like him like melting down a T-Rex skull and shit. Oh, that'd be fucking cool. I mean, I don't know how much. And the whole movie would just be like no dialogue.
No dialogue, yeah.
Oh, all right. When you first said, I thought it was dumb, but the more we're talking about it, I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's like in Spider-Man: Homecoming, he starts off with this crazy good Tony Stark suit that can do anything, but by the time he's fighting Vulture at the end, he's down to his old wrestling suit or whatever it was. I guess he never really wrestled in the
just like a
MCU.
hoodie and stuff. Yeah.
So you take that Predator who, oh no, I lost my spear and I ran out of laser blasts and my wrist guard got bent, and then seeing him like using leaves and mud and getting more primitive looking, that'd be super cool. And then coming across some humans, like humans did live with dinosaurs. I'm watching too much Primal. That's not a thing, but yeah, just give me Predator through time. Hopping through time. He fixes his ship finally and he goes and it lurches him forward a couple million years, and now he's Jack the Ripper. It's like all these crazy things. Like the Hindenburg blew up because someone was fighting a predator on top of it and he shot his laser blast. Like Predator through time and all the crazy antics he got into.
I'd like to see a sort of workplace comedy with predators,
like he's integrated into our lives. Like, I've given up the hunting.
Yeah, like he came to Earth. He killed some people. He went to prison. They did the experiments on him or whatever. He learned English over time. I mean, he's got
his education in prison, like a lot of inmates do.
I mean, he got an accent, and he's a little odd.
Yeah.
But he's reformed now, and it's like, know what? I can't. They took my ship. I can't go home. But I've learned to integrate in society. So he like gets out of prison, gets a job, and you kind of see all that stuff. And he like tries internet dating and everything. And it's like, oh, this girl said she wants to meet me for a drink or whatever. So I'm gonna go to her place. And it's like Chris Hansen shows up, and then it's actually like To Catch a Predator. And,
I should have seen it.
Gotcha. Woo! Yeah, and so it's just like a fun, hey, let's take the Predator franchise somewhere where you didn't expect and just make, obviously it's not canonical, but you just do like a fun little, You know,
Can
it's kind of like an
Predator find
SNL
love?
sketch that you're just expanding into a movie or a series. But
That's a Family Guy joke where it was like instead of Kramer versus Kramer, it was Kramer versus Predator. And it's like they're in court, and I think it's just like, we rule in the favor of Kramer, and then he just shoots him with a laser blast or something.
Oh yeah, well yeah, he's like at his job at the office, and it's like, then someone killed the Joe and didn't make a new batch of coffee, and then it's like, Chris, and then you just see like the red dots on Chris's face. It's like, oh, I just want to do it so bad. Yeah,
I'll do it. Jeez. There's tons of funny bits you can do. Like, oh, the Predator at a birthday party. Oh, we're playing hide and seek, and he's just using his thermal vision and he catches them all real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you truly want to see, like a real legit?
I mean, I was kind of serious about that.
Predator's never going to find love in a workplace.
I'm not a predator head as a dreadhead.
Predhead.
A predhead?
Yeah.
Oh, but see, like I like dreadhead because it's kind of like, it's dread and scary and terrifying, but they also have dreadlocks and
kind of. It's tendrils. They're not really dreadlocks.
Yeah, and I guess dreadhead makes it sound like you're just into Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Okay, fine. Predhead. I'm not a Predhead like you, so I don't care about the franchise that much. If they never make another Predator movie, I won't be upset at all. But if I was gonna do a serious answer, I'd like it doesn't even have to be a good movie. Just give me something on the Predator world. That's not true. I want good movies.
You say that, but you complain about bad movies more than I do.
Yeah,
so.
I need a good story. But if you can do a good story that gives me the Predator homeworld and tells me what they're into, why they do what they do,
what do their houses look like? Are they mud huts or are they sky
Coliseums? Yeah.
They have metal in spaceships, so you wouldn't think that they live in caves. So
do they have gods and religion?
Do they have TV? What do they eat? We never really see them eat. All we see them hunt.
Just anything. And if you have a plan for like 3 more movies that like kind of delves into stuff, and you get slight information in each one, like that's fine. Tease me with stuff. You don't have to do an info dump by any means, but you got to give me something with this world. I can't just have like more dudes showing up and just killing more dudes.
Yeah, that's why I like my all-seeing collector of knowledge sort of character, because hey, you want to do a Predator thing? Cool. It hits. You want to do another one? Sure. He could have like, the world of the Yacha are so vast. Let's check out another tribe, and then you could learn about everyone on the southern hemisphere of that planet. Like you could do it over and over again, and you don't have to have a beginning, middle, end of a plot, but it's talking about little Timmy Predator going through his trials, and maybe he doesn't want to be a hunter and he wants to be a scientist, but maybe only the women are scientists, and that's why we only see male hunters, and it's like they're just like the dumb weekend warrior type guys, and then you have the women are running the society and they make all the major decision, and it's like that's more of that, more Predator homeworld.
What kind of porn are they into? Can we see these things fuck?
Yeah, let's see their genitals. Because like most mammals have like very penis and vagina like things, so I would assume they would as well. But does it have like the weird little like mandibles like their mouth do, or are their pubes like their dreads? What's going on? All right, should we wrap this up?
Yeah, cut all that porn stuff.
I think it's a valid question, Steve. Don't be ashamed to ask questions.
Yeah, we're just any movie talk we have is like, if there's an alien creature where we don't see their genitals, just like, what's their genitals like?
Yeah.
Show me your genitals.
If it's a gelatinous cube, I could assume like, maybe it's asexual or whatever, or it could form it.
It's kind of like a jellyfish thing. Yeah,
who knows? But if it's like 2 arms, 2 legs, upright thinking creature, I'm gonna see its junk.
Yeah, how's it fuck? That's the real question.
Predators, how do they fuck?
We're gonna do a deep dive into the predator culture on this episode of Whirlpool.
All right. Well,
watching. Hang on. We can turn this into a porn thing. Watching, because you watch.
Watching Randy Predator loins.
Jesus Christ.
Wet, rigid predator limbs. New podcast.
Yeah.
You got one?
No, it's like watch real predators
Love.
loose or
Lay.
yeah. Yep. Jesus.
All right. Now officially to wrap it up. All right. Well,
we need to cut like half this episode.
No, that's all good stuff. That's all good stuff. But thanks everyone for listening, and tune in next week.
I mean, we can talk about Better Call Saul.
We'll want to talk about Better Call Saul.
As of tomorrow, the final episode.
I can't believe we're finally
the Breaking
here.
Bad cinematic universe is probably coming to an end for good.
I know tonight's the last episode of Westworld this season, so I want to probably mention
also
that.
Also has Aaron Paul in it.
Also, yeah, who's excellent in this show. I had a feeling he would just be future Jesse, but he's not, even though he is a criminal in the season that he shows up. But yeah.
Yo, what's up, Android bitch? You want to take this crystal? It powers your core cells. Bitch.
What's the... Oh, Roar, I think, is out. Roar?
Oh, that...
Idris Elba lion movie.
Honestly, the first time I saw the trailer, I was like, how are they still making these kind of movies? This looks dumb as shit. And the more trailers I watch, I'm like, I kind of want to see this.
Do I not have it in my list? I fucking went and saw Bodies.
Oh, you saw Bodies?
Yeah.
We can talk about it next week.
So if you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPL Podcast on Gmail, on Twitter, on Instagram. Hit us up with all your questions and any of your comments. What would you like to see in a Predator movie? And as always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
Good night.
Balls are cleaned daily with our patented ball cleaning machine or whatever the hell it was. And I was like, okay.